Hello, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side podcast. My name is Joel Moran, and I'm here with River Brown, Andrew Velez, and this is now episode 164. In this episode, we are going to talk about what Steph Curry's injury means for the Warriors, the Mavericks' recent play, name some underrated players, and talk about some recent blockbuster NFL moves. A quick Patreon shout out to Kobe, Jeremiah, Dylan, Efosa, Mason, Rico the One, Gentile Drew, Cade MVP, Mark, SP Vorzi Shot, Jordan, Evan, Dylan, Joel is the GOAT, Mayo, Andre, Matthew, Peter, Daniel, Biggie Boston Boy, Ben, Mickey, William, Tyler, Ruthless Rootster, Sensei Stevie, Joel B, SA Crimes, Kevin S, Eagle Dollar, Tizzy, Corey, Get Funkoed, Dylan, Playboy Orlando, Big Chuck, Michael, Greg, Cole, Liam, T Grove, Tua Sucks on Ka, Ryan, Epic Lankiness, Travis, Aaron, It's Black Ace, Anthony, BJ, PJs, Langston, Jazzy Juice, Johannes, Ruben, Dave, Muffins, John, Sean Triplet, Burner Hoops, Court Cousins, P. Dot, George, Hikari, Mateen, Matthew Jimenez, and Jay Aqua.
Good old Jay Aqua, man.
What was that guitar thing that you did at the beginning? You almost threw me off because I was about to laugh.
I was trying to do the music, but I don't think it was a guitar. So
Or wants a new signature thing.
Red was over. I was reading the intro. He's over here like this. I'm like, what is he doing? I was about to say,
geeked up, man. I'm
nah,
excited.
bro, you're vibing. It's cool. It's cool.
I respect it. You want your own signature thing?
Nah, I got my own signature.
What's your signature thing?
Man,
Not having a laptop. That's really what it is.
Just for show.
Exactly.
no, I think my signature is like my do-rags. That's my signature.
You got
know
it.
what I'm
That's
saying?
facts.
That's do-rag Riv,
That he's not even wearing.
I haven't worn it in a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Bro.
I'll bring it
The
back.
fans
soon.
need it.
Playoff time, I
They
will
want
be
it.
wearing a do-rag.
All right.
Playoff
Okay.
time, I will
Why?
be
You're going to
wearing-
have a different hairstyle?
I don't know. I just think playoff times when I gotta really lock in, so do-rag has to come on. You know.
Respect. 100%.
So, Mask Kyrie,
Hoodie Mellow.
do-rag Riv, Hoodie Mellow,
Kobe mask. You know.
Kobe Mask, yeah.
Untucked. I think Kyrie.
Untucked
is.
Kyrie, yeah.
Facts.
LeBron mask. You know. Steph with the mouthpiece out.
All right. Let's not go there.
That's a signature.
Fake. That is.
Yeah,
That
it's a
is.
signature.
Game 6 Clay.
Game 6 Clay. Does Harden have a signature? I don't think he does.
Step back, Harden.
Oh, my God.
How is that not his signature? That's a signature.
I
I don't think it
guess.
would
What are you
be
talking
classified in
Not
this
like
type
that,
of thing.
though,
Yeah.
What do you
exactly.
mean? He made it all the way. He passed Reggie Miller in all time.
That's not what it. That's not what his signature
That's
is.
the signature. The beard is his signature.
There you go.
Fear the beard.
Fear the beard's cool.
Fear the beard.
He's always bearded, though. It's not like a once in a
Not
while.
always.
I don't think you want him to shave the beard. Have you ever seen him without the beard?
I have. Not
It's
it.
yeah.
Not it.
Maybe he's, gotten handsomer over the years. I don't know.
He's gotten older.
Miracle guy. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I really can't think of any other signatures, though.
But do-rag River's definitely up there.
It's got to be. It's a lock.
I think somebody said that when I wear a gray hoodie, this gray hoodie specifically, that's when I make my hottest takes.
Really?
Is that
So-
about to be today?
No, I don't think so. So I'm gray hoodie Joel. He's do-rag Riv. I don't know what you are.
Yeah, somebody said that's when I'm at my smartest. When the
With the
do-rag,
comes out?
that's when I say my logical stuff. It's like, it's
I
possible.
wonder why. What's the science behind that?
I don't know.
I'm sure if we tell Serge
Maybe
to
it
figure it out,
compresses your head
Serge could
more.
figure it out.
Surge of all people.
He would do it.
What? Google.
He would go back and look at all the vids and just and try to figure it out.
okay,
Like,
fair enough.
Serge, would that do that?
He might.
Maybe it compresses your head.
It's possible. I don't know.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you either.
I couldn't tell you. It's just
You're supposed to be a nurse, though.
But there's no correlation between do-rags and being smarter.
That's why I got to drop out already, bro. That shit not teaching you nothing.
Listen, 100 comments, I'll drop out. All right?
that can happen.
100 comments that say Drew drop out.
Oh, okay. Now you got it. Nobody's gonna literally say
They
bro.
might.
Okay, yeah.
They might.
There might be a Drew dropout chain.
We're literally gonna be famous. You're gonna just
If
be
that
sitting
happens and it gets 100 likes, I'll drop out.
there. We're gonna be famous. You're gonna just be sitting there with your doctor's degree, like
It's a bachelor's, but
bachelor's, whatever. It's just
I'd
gonna
have
be sitting-
two at that point.
Yeah, with
Just
sitting-
wiping my ass with it.
Yeah, literally just I'm telling your kids, I did
Listen,
this.
that's the
when I was
goal.
young,
That's
but-
the goal.
Word, I feel you.
Don't let Iona see this though.
Education's always a great thing.
It is. 100%.
2 bachelors is a good thing to have.
It's very I'm proud of you, son.
Thanks, man. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Usually we make our football and basketball episodes exclusive, but 2 big time things happen in the NFL that we kind of have to talk about.
I agree.
Because I personally can't wait until next week to talk about it. It's going to be old news at that point. And we want to tell you guys and basically, recap it and give our analysis on it now. Joel, unfortunately, isn't here, but Riv is here. Our
Let's see it, bro. You got big shoes to fill, bro.
And for those wondering,
he's making his football return. There we go.
And for those wondering, JC's not here because he had work. So I know, you guys may comment and ask why. That's why. So just to get it out the way.
Free JC.
So
people are gonna watch the video and still be like, "Where's JC?"
Even after we.
And then they're gonna timestamp it like here where he said it. So on to the first topic of the day. We're gonna get done with football early in the show, so we can just go and talk about basketball the entire way. The Browns traded for Deshaun Watson. So the Browns got Deshaun Watson and a 2024 4th-round pick. The Texans got 3 first-rounders, a 2023 3rd-rounder, and a 2024 4th-rounder. So they swapped 4th-rounders in the year of 2024. And they also gave Deshaun Watson a 5-year, $230 million deal. Now, people thought Cleveland was out of the running. They thought it was between Atlanta and New Orleans. And basically, from the reports that I've been reading, is that Deshaun chose Cleveland because they offered him the most money, guaranteed money, and Atlanta wasn't willing to go as far as them. And that's why he chose Cleveland. Ultimately, there was this guy on Twitter called Sports Talk Jake, who reported that Deshaun was going to Atlanta.
And is this the guy who deactivated?
Yeah, and he made a bunch of bold statements like, "I'll deactivate if I'm wrong."
He's real.
And all this other stuff. He actually activated his account again, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he didn't say he wouldn't be back, but he said, "I'll just deactivate." He did that.
He deactivated because he was getting death threats and stuff.
Really?
Oh
my God.
People are crazy.
Yeah. All because Deshaun's not going to their team. Get over it.
So he's now on the Cleveland Browns. And Drew, what do you think about this? I know you've made a lot of really dumb statements about how you think Deshaun is the most talented quarterback in the NFL.
He definitely.
So now that you think,
what's dumb about it? He's got everything.
Because he's not more talented than Mahomes or Josh Allen.
He's more talented than Mahomes for sure.
No, he's not.
He is.
All right, but you by your standards, you think Deshaun Watson is one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to know your take on this whole thing, and I want to give me what do you think about the Browns moving forward, the Texans, and also if Atlanta ultimately dodged the bullet or they should be regretting that they didn't get Deshaun.
All right, so let's go piece by piece. We'll start with the Browns. Them getting Deshaun for 3 firsts, I believe is a 3rd and a 5th, is less than what the Broncos had to trade to get Russell Wilson. I thought that some players would be moved in this trade. No players were moved on the Browns side, just straight up draft picks. Now, it makes sense. This is a risk in taking Deshaun onto your team because there's baggage that comes along with it. With Russell Wilson, there's no baggage. You know what you're getting with Russell. He's going to be on the field. He's going to be playing, bearing injury. Now, on the Texans side, they get their draft picks. They have very firm capital for the future, and now they're stating that they're going to build around Davis Mills, which I don't think is the worst plan at this point in time. He's a solid option. You don't have to take on Baker or, think about giving Baker a contract in the future because he's going to be up for a contract next season. So you save yourself around $30 to $35 million, and now you have a quarterback going into his 2nd year, and you have at least 2-3 more seasons of deciding whether this guy is going to be your future quarterback for time being. And now, in that sense, they still can build around Davis Mills, and they have the capital to do so. So Texans, I understand. They were going to move off Deshaun. Inevitably, Deshaun and them had basically come to an agreement that their time together was done with. They get their capital, and they have their piece in Davis Mills that they feel they can build around. So the Texans are sorted out. Now for the Browns. You're adding Deshaun Watson to a team that we already felt was loaded with talent. Top 5 talented roster on paper. Now you pair Amari Cooper, who, when Baker was his quarterback, now we're thinking, what is Amari Cooper's upside really? It's a big question in the air, given the fact that his last season with Dallas was full of highs and lows. Now he comes into a situation where he's about to have, in my opinion, the most skilled quarterback in the NFL throwing to him. Amari Cooper's going to have a field day as long as he can stay on the field. Now, you have Nick Chubb, who is going to be in heaven now that Deshaun Watson is his quarterback, because as if he already wasn't running rampant on every other team because he has such a great offensive line, now there's really no way you could scheme for Nick Chubb. You can't stack 7 in the box. You could do that before because who's scared of Baker Mayfield throwing the football? You're not. Now Deshaun Watson's your quarterback, and there's no guessing. There's no real scheme for the Browns right now. You can't predict one to pass. You can't predict them to run. They're just going to be versatile because, one, Deshaun Watson is a mobile quarterback, and he can do it with his legs as well. And he is one of the best passers, if not the best passers in the NFL. He's that great of a football player. Now, I would like them to add another wide receiver. Donovan Peoples-Jones is good enough to be a wide receiver too, especially with Deshaun Watson being the quarterback of the team. He's that talented. But I would still like to see them get another option. Right now, given the fact that they just gave Deshaun Watson $230 million guaranteed, it's going to be tough for them to do so. Correct, that's $230 million guaranteed. It was fully guaranteed.
Yep.
That is crazy. That alone is insane.
Well deserved in your eyes.
Listen, without a doubt, when he's on the field, again, allegations, all these things aside, solely talking football, this guy is amazing. A 10 out of 10 ball player. He is fantastic. I'm looking at the Browns completely different now. This isn't a team that's led by Baker Mayfield. This is a team now led by Deshaun Watson, who, when he's on the field, can do everything perfectly. The last season that he played, 70% completion percentage with attempts of 8.5 yards per attempt. Only happened 4 other times in NFL history, and his team only won 4 games. This guy's as talented as it gets. The Browns have to be looked at as Super Bowl contenders, and this was an excellent move by them.
For me, you're right. Deshaun Watson is a great quarterback. He's an elite quarterback. Coming off of 2020, I would have probably ranked him as a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, without a doubt.
I'd hope so.
Mahomes is better than him right now.
Not after that choke job we just saw from him.
Oh, yeah, the choke job where he threw a dime to his receiver, but it was tipped up and intercepted in overtime. It was a dime. Watch the tape back. Watch the tape back.
I see it because
it was tipped.
It's one of the happier moments.
It was swatted, and then it got picked off. That's unfortunate.
Swatted by the corner that was originally playing ball on him.
It was a good ball, though. Josh Allen is better. In 2020,
we can have that conversation.
No, it's not a conversation. Josh Allen is better.
Yeah, recency bias. You haven't seen Deshaun.
It's not recency bias. I just think Josh Allen is a better player.
When they played 1v1, who got the better?
Josh Allen's way better than he was at that moment, though.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
Sure.
Josh Allen almost beat Deshaun Watson in the playoffs
while they were
when
at home.
He wasn't even a great quarterback. He was an average quarterback at that point in time.
Who? Josh Allen?
Josh Allen was average.
In
Deshaun
in 2019, he was no. In 2019, Josh Allen was average.
Again, the score was 16-0. And Texans won.
But he's saying Allen was average. Pardon me. He's saying Allen was average at the time.
For sure.
If you're going off that logic, how can you possibly say Deshaun's better than Mahomes when he blew like a 28-0 lead?
They were different that season.
Okay, come on.
They were
blowing a 28-0 lead.
They won the Super Bowl that year.
Come on, 28-0 lead.
They won the Super Bowl.
That's worse than the Falcons, bro.
They came back from double digits every single game they played.
Okay, regardless, this is my list. I don't really want to hear yours right now. Mahomes is better. Josh Allen is better. Justin Herbert is better in my opinion.
Jesus, man. What are you watching?
What do you mean?
What are you watching?
Justin Herbert had the most touchdowns in his first 2 seasons of any quarterback in NFL history.
God bless him.
He's better than Deshaun Watson.
He's not.
I'll probably put Deshaun Watson 4th. I might be missing a guy or two.
Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers is better than him. So,
Eesh, no way.
Okay. Okay, whatever. So Deshaun Watson is probably the 5th best quarterback in the NFL, unless if maybe you want to put Brady over him, or you love Kyler, but you think Deshaun's better.
Deshaun,
right?
for sure.
So Deshaun is probably the 5th best quarterback in the NFL.
In your opinion?
I think it's probably a fact. I'll be honest, but yeah, sure. In my opinion, yeah, I guess it is my opinion.
Yeah.
I will say this
because you had Josh Allen over Mahomes a couple weeks ago.
I've already said multiple times they're 1A, 1B.
Listen,
so if I say Mahomes is better one day and I say Josh Allen is better the other day, you know what I mean? Because I've always said they're 1A, 1B to me.
I don't like that.
They're the same, bro. Like
I'm taking Josh Allen.
Okay, that's you. I'm happy.
So
for
you have Watson at what, 2 or 1?
For me, talent wise, he's number 1.
Okay. Why are you
Right.
giggling?
Because it's just ridiculous.
Reading
Just say
a-
he's number one, bro.
He's number one.
Just say he's number one.
So he's the best
just say
quarterback in the
he's
league.
the best quarterback in the league if you feel that way.
I do feel that way.
Okay.
So
there
you
go.
think Deshaun Watson is the best quarterback in the NFL?
For sure.
Okay, I'd rather you say that than say this talent thing because we know he doesn't have a stronger arm than Mahomes or Allen. He's not a better
He's
runner
more
than
accurate.
Allen.
He's not. He might be a better runner than Allen.
What?
Not in terms of contact.
What do you mean?
Because Josh Allen eats contact.
Come on, bro. All right. Let me just get back to this
He's a big
analysis.
dude. Allen.
Dude, he's a freak. Josh Allen is a freak of nature.
Deshaun Watson in 2020 had one of the best quarterback seasons I've ever seen in my lifetime, and he was playing with virtually nothing on the offensive line because people love to throw out like he was playing with nothing, but that's not really true. Brandon Cooks is a great receiver. Will Fuller is a great deep threat. Randall Cobb was a good slot. There were times that year where guys were hurt, like Fuller, like Cobb.
He got suspended.
And he had a count on Kiki Kute and Chad Hansen, and he still played well. And those are the games I'm like, oh, wow, like Deshaun has no offensive line, nothing at all, and he's playing well. But it's not like he had no weapons. The defense was just horrible that season. The Browns offense now has Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, Peoples-Jones. They signed Jakeem Grant, Njoku, Wills, Batonio, Nick Harris, who I know they cut J.C. Treader, but Nick Harris, I know it's limited snaps, but he played 67 snaps last season. He was pretty good at center. Wyatt Teller, Jack Conklin. This is the first time in Deshaun Watson's career where he's going to have an elite running game and an elite offensive line. Nick Chubb last season had over 1,200 yards, and he was hurt. 8 touchdowns, had 5.5 yards per carry. Knowing Kevin Stefanski in his offense, it's going to be a lot of play action. It's going to be a lot of easy stuff for Deshaun Watson. But he's also going to ask Deshaun to make some big-time plays, which we know he's more than capable of doing. So I'm interested to see how good the offense is going to be. With that being said, I think it's hard to project the Browns going into next season on the sole fact that we are not sure what the suspension number is going to be because I'm pretty certain he's going to get suspended for how many games. I think Jacoby Brissett, that they brought him in, he can, if it's a 5-game stretch and it's
2 and 3.
It's like good teams, he can get you 2 and 3 or 3 and 2.
I agree.
If they're bad teams, they could start 5-0. Like Jacoby Brissett's not a bad quarterback.
Yep.
I would say maybe even like 4-1 if they're bad teams, and they do have a bad schedule. The teams that were in on Deshaun Watson, the Browns face all those teams this upcoming season. The Texans, the Saints, the Falcons, the Panthers.
That's exciting.
He's facing all those teams, and all those teams are not good teams. If they face them in the beginning of the year, even if it's Brissett, he can win all those games, in my opinion, with how loaded this Browns roster is. They still have holes. You mentioned it, wide receiver 2, defensive tackle is still an issue. I like Chase Winovich. I think he can be that guy opposite of Myles Garrett, but he was hurt last year in 2020. He did have a good year. He had 47 pressures. I think if healthy, he can complement him very well, but there are some holes there still. I think for the Texans, they didn't want a player back because the player they were probably going to get was like Denzel Ward. They would have had to pay him 5 years, $100 million. I don't think the Texans are in a position right now where they want to pay any player. They just want to start this roster out fresh, build through the draft, and upgrade their talent that way. That's why I think it was just picks. And you're right, the Broncos gave up for more for Russell, but Russell isn't facing 22 civil suits.
100%.
Like Deshaun is still facing that. Mm-hmm. So that's still a big time risk. And as for the Falcons, I thought the Falcons were never in a position to try and trade for Deshaun Watson anyway. Their roster is too bad. They didn't have cap space. They would have really gave up all the future draft capital they had, and Deshaun Watson would have been virtually in the same position with Atlanta that he was in Houston. Yeah, probably even worse. And people talk about, Atlanta would have had all this cap space. Well, you take into account the cap number Deshaun now accounts for, which is like 40, 50 million. Mm-hmm. No, they wouldn't have, because it would have been a lot of money thrown at just that one position.
I don't know if it would have been worse than Houston, given the fact they won 7 games with virtually the same roster. Just add Deshaun, you understand what I'm saying? So that's why I don't know if it would have been like Houston.
But if I'm not mistaken, he isn't really going to be traded. They only really just got Kyle Pitts. The defense is still in trouble. That's a pretty bad roster.
But there was a report that came out that if Deshaun Watson did go there, Jarvis Landry was going to sign. And another name, too, popped up. It was Jarvis Landry and somebody else that were going to sign with Atlanta, if that happened.
Landry
I think
isn't bad.
And they
I
just
forgot
brought
who
back
it is.
Cordero Patterson today also.
Yeah.
And he took less money.
Yeah, so...
Well, he's 30.
He's a beast. He was a beast last season.
He's great. So I think Atlanta wasn't in a position to trade for him. The Browns, you're right. They're Super Bowl contenders. There's no doubt about that. But that being said, I have to see what happens with Deshaun Watson's suspension.
For sure.
But he is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Like I said, I'd rank him 5. And I feel like, we might be prematurely leaving out Lamar in this conversation. Tom Brady's also coming back, but at this point in time, you're taking Deshaun over Tom Brady, given the age factor and just what he can do mobility-wise. So those are all things, but if Lamar Jackson has an MVP-level season this upcoming year, I mean, I probably have Deshaun Watson outside the top 5, but there's no doubt he's an elite quarterback.
Reason why I say number 1 talent-wise and not number 1 overall is because accolades get brought into it automatically. People say that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league because he's been to 4 straight AFC championships. He has a Super Bowl MVP. He has a Super Bowl championship already. He has an MVP already. So that's why there's levels to it, why people will look at it from the outside. Look, for sure. First season as a starter, threw 50 touchdowns. But Deshaun, in my opinion, taking everything into account, I look at that guy and I just think I don't want anyone other than Deshaun Watson as my quarterback.
You say that, though, but, I think it's pretty much consensus that Mahomes is more talented than him.
But at what, though? He's not more accurate than him.
Talented. Right now,
he's not smarter than him.
How can you measure that?
In terms of reading a field, his completion percentage is outrageous.
So you think completion percentage has to do with IQ?
To a sense.
Okay. I think it's pretty much consensus that Mahomes and Allen are more talented than Deshaun Watson. If you don't feel that,
we could have that conversation.
I think Mahomes is more talented than Allen.
I can't agree.
I mean, you're talking about accuracy, you're talking about skill right there.
Mm-hmm.
For one, Mahomes is still one of the more accurate quarterbacks in the NFL.
He is one of the more accurate, yeah.
With that being said, talent is who's more physically imposing and who has more physical traits.
I look at Deshaun and I think
Deshaun
he has
does
everything.
not have more physical traits than Mahomes or Allen.
Definitely not Allen.
Or Herbert.
But how so?
Or Lamar.
What do you mean, how so?
In terms of extending plays, Deshaun is as good as anyone in the league.
These 3 guys are too.
In terms of putting a ball where it needs to be, Deshaun is amongst the best.
Who has the stronger arm out of Mahomes, Allen, Josh?
Allen, without a doubt.
Who had ranked them?
I would
Deshaun Watson, Herbert, Allen, and Mahomes. Who has the strongest arm?
Strongest arm, I'd go Allen, I'd go Mahomes, I'd go Deshaun.
Deshaun has a stronger arm than Herbert. That's not even a question, bro.
It is.
It's not. It's not a question. It's not. It's really not a question.
Again, we forget because Deshaun hasn't been on the field in a year.
No, I haven't forgotten.
Deshaun is a bad man.
I just watched his tape today.
And you weren't impressed?
I'm not saying I'm not impressed.
Dude,
but
this guy is a generational
talent. We're
talent.
talking about arm talent only, bro.
Correct. And
Matthew Stafford had a stronger arm than Deshaun Watson.
But this guy's meticulous with his ball placement.
Okay, but we're just talking about talent.
And he still has the arm strength to fit in any window.
If you look, I have no. If you want to say Deshaun is the more skilled out of all these guys,
correct.
I really don't care about you saying that.
That's what I'm saying.
But when you say talent, that's a different thing.
Talent and skill are synonymous.
No, it's not. It's not synonymous. Talent and skill is not synonymous, bro.
To a degree, yeah.
No, it's not. No, it's not, bro.
You don't think so?
Michael Beasley is one of the more talented players we've ever seen, but he didn't have much success. He can be very talented and not be super skilled.
There you go. That's now I was waiting because you're saying he didn't have success.
So how is it synonymous then?
Talent and skill are basically the same thing.
I don't think so.
No, I don't necessarily agree.
If you're talented, you have a lot of skill.
No, that's not true.
Is Drew Lock not one of the more talented arm throwers?
No,
he has a powerful arm. Drew Lock
can have a strong arm and not have it I don't even know why that name would come up.
No, this thing.
Allen coming into the league talented, but he didn't have the skills yet.
He was raw. Yeah,
he was raw.
Exactly. It took him time. That's why it took him time to develop.
He was one of the most talented, but he wasn't skilled yet. He was still raw.
So we're saying Deshaun isn't talented?
No.
Or as talented?
No, we're saying
that's what I'm saying. He's not as talented.
Correlate. We're saying talent.
Yeah,
I do think they correlate, but
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Mahomes is more talented than Deshaun. So is Allen and so is Herbert.
But I don't understand because they have a stronger arm, they're more talented.
I think it's more things. Well, with Josh Allen specifically,
Allen, 100%. We can really talk.
And Herbert
can't.
They're both 6'5". They're both 6'5" and have some of the powerful arms in the NFL.
How tall is Deshaun?
He's 6'2".
Let's see.
Don't take forever,
Oh my
bro.
God, you don't even know his height. We're
6'2".
talking about talent.
Okay.
You don't even know about height.
What does that have to do with
But
him and his
talent
ability?
Height measures into talent. It's your physical measurables. That's what talent is, bro.
Yes.
Talent is your physical measurables.
Uh-huh.
Like Tom Brady wasn't the most talented, but he became great off of skill. You can be not the most talented, but still be great because of skill, and you can be bad and be talented. Drew Lock is a talented player, but he's not good.
I don't think Drew Lock's talented.
He is talented. He has a very strong arm. His arm is powerful. He just doesn't hit his receivers because he's inaccurate. But his arm is powerful. He has one of the more better arms, but he's not great. He's not skilled.
Interesting.
What do you got to say, Riv?
I hate when he does that interesting thing. Hi. Well, since everybody was throwing...
welcome back, man. Here we go.
Everybody
Debut.
was throwing their little lists. For me, I feel like Mahomes is number 1. Allen is number 2.
It's a basic list.
Then I go Aaron Rodgers
the right
at
list.
3. I would put Deshaun at 4
Okay.
and Herbert at 5. I think those two, you can flip or flop either way. But I would put Deshaun at 4.
I like that
Herbert
list.
at 5. But Aaron is at 3 for me. So
That's fine.
for Cleveland, I don't want to go say they're Super Bowl contenders yet, because like you said, we don't know how many games he's going to be suspended for. They still have a lot of holes in their offense and in their defense, so it's tough. But from looking at it from right now, Cleveland just got the best quarterback in their division already. I think that's a great thing to do. I think getting that quarterback, because last year you saw Baker Mayfield, he was dealt with a lot of injuries. They were pretty much underwhelmed for most of the year, but they were still a talented team. But what was holding them back was Baker Mayfield being hurt and just him not being at his best. I think Deshaun Watson solves a lot of problems for them. He definitely helps them. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, of course. And then now you brought in, before you even got Watson, you brought in a consistent receiver in Amari Cooper, who we've seen can break off some big-time numbers, can have some big-time games. He's played with a couple quarterbacks in his career, but he's shown the production that he can be really good. So I think that pairing them two, like you said, Nick Chubb, he's one of the best running backs in the league. So now you got a 3-headed dragon where you can really do some damage. On defense, you got, in my opinion, one of the best man-to-man cornerbacks in the league in Denzel Ward. He's only 25 years old. Myles Garrett is one of the best. So it's like this team is not only young, but it's like they're elite players at a lot of positions. So I think Cleveland did the right thing. They realized they were a quarterback away from being Super Bowl contenders, and they pulled the trigger. You essentially gave everything up in draft, but it doesn't really matter when a player like that. And I understand they had to do more for Watson because of Russell, because of the allegation, but also because Watson is a better player at this moment in time than Russell Wilson. So you have to give up more for the better player, in my opinion. For Texans, Davis Mills played good last year, So I think at this point, like you said, they didn't want to bring in a player they would have to pay. They rather just start from the bottom and just draft and get all the draft pieces and bring everybody in and start fresh. This is something that's been like surfacing around Houston for a long time. Deshaun Watson, his allegations. So I think they just want to start clean, just bring back draft picks, get back guys that fit their culture. And I think they just got a new head coach last year too. So I think they just want to bring back guys that are definitely in their culture, bring back something different, start fresh, start clean. Davis Mills, bring guys around them. They still have Cooks there. Laramie Tunsil's still there. So they still have guys there, but I think this draft capital is going to be good for them. For Atlanta, they still got Matt Ryan. You know what I'm saying? Matt Ryan is still a good quarterback. Kyle Pitts was a great pick for them last year. So I think at this point they have A.J. Terrell, who's one of the best at his position, and he's really young. So they got some guys too. It's just they're in a position where it's tough for them. Like Deshaun, that wasn't a right spot for Deshaun. There was nothing for him there. I don't think that was a smart move. If realistically for me, I would have chose New Orleans. If it was just between the Saints and Atlanta, the Saints make more sense for Atlanta. I think they should probably try to move off Matt Ryan and maybe start fresh like the Texans are going to do. But back to Cleveland, I think this is a great deal for them. Will I put them as a Super Bowl contender? I don't know, because like I said, it depends on Deshaun. I still look at the Bengals and what they did last year, and their young guys are only going to get better. That's still a team you got to look out for. So in Baltimore, Lamar Jackson's coming back healthy, so that team was banged up last year. Then I look at your division, Denver, the Chiefs, the Raiders, who we're going to talk about in a little bit. So I look at the Chargers, who just got dumb nice in 3 days.
They did.
So I look at a lot of teams in the AFC. I wouldn't necessarily call them Super Bowl contenders, but they're definitely in the right direction moving forward.
No, I agree, and you're right. Like, we have to see the Browns play first because Kevin Stefanski, there's mixed reviews on him, whether he's a great coach or he's not a great coach. He did win Coach of the Year, but there are still some
the verdict's not out.
Criticism about him. So that you know,
He just
because of
needs to
that,
be-
we have to see.
When you have Deshaun, like when you have a quarterback like that, I don't think you need an elite to great coach. I just think you need like a good coach. Because I think when you have a quarterback like that that's able to manage the game and have that type of ability, you don't need him to be great. You know what I'm saying? You just need good. And if you get good, got a lead coach, I think you'll be all right.
And the thing is, Deshaun's great.
No,
So they don't have to worry
I'm with
about
you.
that. Yeah.
I don't think he's won. You know, I think there's guys who've like we just seen Josh out in the playoffs. He's different.
amazing. He is
and
amazing.
Mahomes is different, but don't do that. don't do that. Mahomes has been the best.
He's
for
really
like the
good.
past 2-3 seasons. But I would put Deshaun. He's one of the best. You know,
I was
he
just
plays.
looking up the playoff game the Texans played with the Chiefs just to refresh my mind because I forgot how the game actually went.
Was it
So
21-0?
the Texans were up 28-0, I think, or it was like
I think it was
2014.
I think it was 24-0.
The game finished out as 51-31.
Yeah, they didn't score much.
Patrick
did they?
He
Mahomes
went
threw
crazy.
for over 300 yards, 5 touchdowns. Deshaun had 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. But Mahomes outplayed
Mahomes went
him.
nuts.
He outplayed him.
He definitely did.
He's better.
Yeah, he is better.
He's better. Like
He was better.
I think the only person who's outplayed Mahomes is probably Allen in a playoff game.
Yeah.
Realistically,
And even
maybe
that
Brady.
was like
That's
tomato.
bad.
Yeah, so it's like
Even though I think Allen played better.
I think Allen, he's the only guy who really went toe. Like you can't really say he never went toe to toe with Mahomes. You know, his team was there every time. He just, stuff happens.
The Raiders traded for Davante Adams, and the
Crazy.
Raiders got Davante Adams. The Packers ended up getting 2 picks, one in the first round, and the second round. This year, it's picks number 22
My brother's a Packers
and
fan, too.
53.
He's in pain.
He's doing bad.
Yeah.
People talk about, the Packers didn't get much compensation for Davante, but they have to realize that Davante Adams was never going to play for the Packers ever again because, for one, he turned down more money from the Packers. The Packers were willing to give him more money, but he didn't want that. And he wasn't ever going to play on the franchise tag, which means that they virtually flipped the player who wasn't going to play on their roster for 2 picks.
Really good picks.
And then the Raiders gave him a 5-year, $142.5 million contract.
Woo.
He's virtually making almost $30 million a year. We talk about quarterbacks making that much, and we're like, we don't want to pay a quarterback that much. And now a receiver's getting this type of money.
I love to see it.
Would you have done it?
No,
No.
I wouldn't have. I think the Raiders definitely upgraded talent. With Chandler Jones, Davante Adams, 2 of the best players at their position, I think they have now jumped up to the second best team in the AFC West behind the Chargers. If I were ranking it today, I think it's the Chargers, Raiders, and Chiefs. Even though the Raiders and Chiefs, I think, are going to be a close second to each other. I think the Broncos are dead last, and I said it last show. And that was before they got Davante Adams.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this. I'm worried about this move for the Raiders. I think the Packers will be just fine. They have been 10-3 without Davante Adams when he hasn't played. Aaron Rodgers has shown before he can get you there. They might not win it all, but they'll still be great. And I don't think they're going to not make moves. They now have 2 first-round picks. They can go and get a wide receiver, one of those picks. Another one of those picks could be for an offensive tackle or a guard or an interior lineman. Maybe Tyler Linderbaum falls in the draft and they can draft him.
That'd be interesting.
I think the Packers are going to sign one of these marquee free agent names of receiver, either if it's Julio or Jarvis Landry or maybe a Will Fuller goes there on a 1-year prove-it deal. I think they'll sign one of these marquee free agent wide receivers. I think Odell Beckham, if I were to give my prediction, I think Odell is going to be on the Green Bay Packers. With that being said, I look at the Raiders, and Davante Adams is 29 years old. They just gave him 5 years. He has played 1 full season in the last 3 years, and that was this past season. He missed week 18 because he was resting for the playoffs, but in 2020, he missed games. In 2019,
led the league in touchdowns.
no, you're right, but he missed games. 2019, he missed games as well. Davante Adams is 29. Do you want to know somebody who led the league in receiving yards at 29 years old?
AB.
I was going to guess AB as well, or Julio.
Julio Jones.
Yeah.
He had 1,600, over 1,600 that year. Since then, he's dropped off tremendously. Since 1990, 38 wide receivers have been Pro Bowlers at age 29. 24 of them have failed to have a top 5 season afterwards. Only 4 players had multiple top 5 receiver seasons after 29.
Jerry Rice.
Terrell Owens, Marvin Harrison, Jerry Rice, and Chris Carter. I'm not saying Davante
Legends.
Adams can't do it, but The
Select
numbers
group. Select
are
group.
the numbers are against you. There's over a 50% chance that in 2 years, Davante Adams is going to drop off significantly to the point that $30 million a year is going to be looked at as one of the worst contracts in the NFL.
Can they get off of it at any point in time?
It's all guaranteed.
Let me. What's
I'm pretty sure it's all guaranteed.
Go
well,
ahead.
you know, first of all, the Raiders, great move. You know, great move. You get the best. Let me not say the best. Cooper Kupp just bugged out. You get one of the 3 best receivers in the NFL.
He's top 2. You can say he's top 2.
All right, I just wanted to be. I wanted to be safe,
and I respect you respecting
I wanted
Cooper.
to be safe. He's one of the top 3 best receivers in the league. You pair him with Hunter Renfrow, Bryan Edwards, Darren Waller. I mean, that's a pretty scary wide receiving.
It's a cute
I think
trio.
that's a pretty
Very
great
cute.
room right there. You know, Hunter Renfrow is solid. Darren Waller is one of the best tight ends in the league. Then you got Bryan Edwards. I think he's really good, and that's going to open up the field for him now that you get Davante Adams in. This is a really, and Derek Carr is really good.
He is.
So this is a really dangerous offense. Then, not to mention Chandler Jones on the other side with Max Crosby. I like Nate Hobbs. His rookie year was solid. They lost Casey Haywards. It sucks, but I think they can still retool. The Raiders are a good team. Now, ranking them, I like Denver and what they did. I ain't gonna say I don't. I like Denver and what they did.
Before you keep going,
65.
51% of it is like bluff, according to Spot Track. 67.5 of it is guaranteed, but 22 million was guaranteed at the sign of it. So, you know,
He has
signing
$22
bonus.
million
And then they
in
have
his
a
pocket.
potential out in 2025.
Yeah, so he got 22 million guaranteed at the signing of the contract, and 42.9 more million is guaranteed.
Imagine waking up
You
to that
sign
tomorrow.
and 22
Yo,
million just
that's
drops in your bank
insane,
account.
bro.
Shout out to Davante.
That is awesome.
Like I was
So
saying.
yeah, so that would mean like half of his contract is not guaranteed, which means they could get out of it.
Yeah.
In 2-3 seasons.
At the age of
I would say
32,
3
you can get
seasons.
out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to my monologue. Denver, you guys made great moves. I do think you guys are last though, as of right now, and not to say you're last because you're a terrible team. Not saying
It's a
that.
stacked division.
Yeah, I think
It's
just the
unbelievable.
division is really, really good.
Yeah.
Everybody has made moves. You've also made moves, but there's still some holes in your team. I like the Raiders. I would probably put ahead of you guys right now. I would probably put the Chargers at 1, but I still think I got the Chiefs at 2. I think, Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, I can't count them out, so I think for me there's 2, but the Chargers, the moves they made were just too dangerous for me to not put them 1. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I think for the Raiders, this is a move that they feel like they're in win now mode. This is a big move. Adams wanted to play with Carr. Carr and Adams are cool. This is offensively, this could be one of the best offenses in the league. For Green Bay, I don't think this is as bad as people make it seem. Like you said, they have draft capital. They can draft this receiving core in this draft looks really good. They can pick up a couple receivers. They can help out on that offensive line. Like you said, we've seen it before. Aaron Rodgers will get you there, and he's still at that level where he can play at an elite level. And the defense is still really good. The defense is going to be really good. So I think they just re-signed Rajul Douglas. He was good for them last year. They still got Eric Stokes, who had a good rookie year. And they still have one of the best man-to-man cornerbacks in the league in Jair Alexander. So Rashawn Gary is still really good. They did release Darius Smith, but I think their defense is still going to be solid on that end.
So before you go, just so our listeners and viewers can know how the Davante Adams contract is, this is the full breakdown of the Adams deal. And shout out to Philly Phil on Twitter, which this is where I'm getting it from.
Philly Phil.
Here's the full breakdown of the Adams deal. Signing bonus, $19.25 million. His salary for this upcoming season is $3.5 million, fully guaranteed. 2023 has a roster bonus of $20 million, guaranteed for injury at signing and fully guaranteed in 2023. Then his 2023 base salary is $6 million, guaranteed for injury as well. In 2024, he has $16.89 million guaranteed for injury in that year. In 2025 base salary, his base salary is going to be $35 million. In 2026, his base salary will be the same number, $35 million, and he's going to get a roster bonus of $500,000 annually per game in 2022 to 2026. And basically, in reality, it's a 3-year, $67.5 million contract. The final 2 seasons of it pay him $72.5 million that he may never get to see, and he'll be 32 at that time. And if the Raiders are probably smart, they restructure his deal so he doesn't have that huge of a cap hit.
The only way that he gets that money is if Davante, at age 32, is putting up the numbers that he's putting up right now.
I think that he will
Even
not
still?
see that. No, because, bro,
it's crazy,
we're talking
man.
about $30 million.
Yeah,
I think the Raiders are like, even if he's a great receiver, an elite one at that point,
you can't do it.
I don't want to pay a receiver $30 million. And you're talking about a team who can, if they release him outright, they save $30 million.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You know, at that point, they're like, nah, we probably don't.
Doesn't matter how good he is.
Yeah.
I think at 32 will still be good though.
I'll tell you what, this was one of the craziest news breaks that I've ever seen in my life. The only one that I can put up with this one is the Kawhi and Paul George news at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm driving home and I see that Kawhi and Paul George are going to LA. That was crazy. But this one's right up there with it. I was completely shocked. Did not see this coming whatsoever. But it makes sense, really. Davante has been rumored to want to play with Derek Carr for the last couple of seasons now. And as the sooner we've gotten to Davante's free agent contract, the more and more that those talks started to come into light. But I never thought it would happen, especially with Rodgers, the way that he's been playing, the way that these two have chemistry. I never expected the trade to get done. But now here we are, and now the deal's done, and you can't go back if you're the Green Bay Packers. I'm not high on this move for the Packers. I understand what you're saying makes complete sense. They weren't going to be able to keep him, especially given the fact he was not going to play underneath a franchise tag. Thank you. And it just seemed as if Davante's time in Green Bay was up. He just wanted to move on. They gave him the money, more money than what the Raiders were willing to pay him and what they did pay him. And he just decided he wanted to move on. Now, for Green Bay, I do have my worries about their wide receiver core. Look at the playoff game against the Niners last season. There was 2 players targeted, 3 actually. The tight end got targeted 1 time. It was Davante Adams got targeted 9 times. Aaron Jones got targeted 9 times. No one else got a target on that team. This really does worry me for their wide receiver group. They have picks 22 and they have picks 28. No doubt about it, they need to draft wide receiver with one of these 2 picks. If they went and drafted a receiver with both of these picks, not the worst idea, but you're 100% right. If Linderbaum's there at 22, I contemplate taking him there and then potentially taking my wide receiver at 28. Rodgers will make anyone good. He's that great of a quarterback. There's no doubt in my mind. But if Jameson Williams there at 22, I'm not taking that risk. I'm taking him at 22. Jameson Williams is a special, special talent. And pairing him with Aaron Rodgers is just going to set him up for success later on in his career. But going into next season, I can't expect a rookie wide receiver to lead the team in receiving and it ultimately correlate to wins and automatically translate to them being Super Bowl contenders. Because I'm thinking big picture here. I have Aaron Rodgers coming in the back half towards the end of his career. I'm not looking at it in the sense of, oh, they just need to make the playoffs and I can respect it. You didn't sign this contract to compete for a playoff spot. You signed this contract to potentially win another Super Bowl or at least go to another Super Bowl. This move, in my opinion, completely takes that picture out for them. If they get an Odell, if they get a Julio, maybe my opinion can change. But as of right now, where it stands, where your wide receiver 1 is Alan Lazard, I have my concerns. And I feel like I'm justified in that. Now for the Raiders. They didn't have to do this to me. It's definitely painful. They made an amazing move for them right now in this current moment in time. Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, Davante Adams, like you mentioned, Josh Jacobs. It's a scary wide receiver. It's a scary weapons room, without a doubt. They're talented. Offensively, they're stacked. Offensive line, though, they still need some help there.
You guys have the worst offense in the division.
I'm going to agree with that right now.
It's funny because that was the Broncos' calling card this entire time.
Which is?
Their offense, a quarterback would love to enter this offense because the weapons are so stacked, and that was your calling card. That was your pitch, and it's the worst in the division.
Why you say it like that?
Well, what he's saying is not completely wrong. You look at it in the sense
you have
of
a good room,
Tyreek Hill, Kelsey. Automatically, those two you have to respect.
Juju's there.
Juju now joining the team does make things interesting.
And Clyde.
We'll see. He's mid. He is mid.
He's still a good receiver.
Darryl Williams outperformed him completely.
He's all right,
I still like CEH though.
You look at the Chargers, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler. That's amazing. They are established, which is why you have to give them their respect. Now you look for
better.
For sure. Right now, they're established. You have the Raiders.
Wait.
Cortland Sutton is not better than anybody there.
Yeah, I see.
He's better than Mike Williams.
No, he's not.
My God.
Mike Williams is not that good. He really isn't. I'm looking at the Raiders. They're scary.
Yeah.
They're scary. I can't.
They probably have the best.
I can't go around it. But now Russell Wilson comes into our offense. You have Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick, Javonte Williams. Albert O's going to show you what he's capable of this season. We have a solid offensive line that I don't think we're done making changes to. I think we are still going to make a play for a right tackle, named to become at a later date. Lyle
So
Collins.
you would rank yours where? 2, 3, 4?
We probably right now going
Offense.
into it.
They're last.
Like you can count offensive line too.
They're last, bro.
I would say we're third.
They're last.
Who's fourth?
I would say the Chargers are fourth.
They have a better offensive line than you guys.
Their offensive line's
They have a
elite.
great offensive line.
And
Their
they have,
offensive line's
they
elite.
have better
But I'm
ones.
taking everything
They
into
have better
account.
ones than twos. You.
We'll see.
And they have a better quarterback.
They have
I
a
don't
better
agree
running
with
And they
back
have a better
too.
running back by far. Don't do
Javonte
that.
Williams is going to be
No,
better than him.
he's going to be. But we're talking about right now.
He could easily be better than him
We're
next
talking
season.
about right now, today.
Yes, but again, I'm projecting because that's what we're doing right
I
now.
mean, if you're
in
projecting,
2022.
Herbert's going to be better than Russell.
So
In
hold
the
on.
long
So
run, yeah.
wait. So what he's saying is that he has the Broncos 3 off of assumptions. That's what you're saying.
Correct.
Off of assumptions
Okay,
and
projection.
Projection.
Off of no legitimate.
Because that's what you're
facts.
doing.
Bad projection.
You're projecting.
Projecting what?
You're putting the Chiefs third off projecting that the Raiders are going to be great this
That is
season.
true. You are doing that. You are doing
or
that.
it's because
We're all projecting here.
the
I didn't
best
project.
receiver in the NFL in Davante Adams and a top 3 slot and one of the best tight ends in Darren Waller and,
you're
Josh
saying
Jacobs was a good back.
You're saying the Chiefs, who have been in the AFC Championship game at least 4 straight seasons.
I didn't talk about
gonna
the
drop to the
Chiefs'
third.
offense though.
I'm just saying they're gonna
I'm
drop
saying
to
that
third.
because of their defense. They lost Charvarius Ward, which I think is a huge loss.
That is the loss.
Jaron Reed, Derek Nottie, not there.
They didn't
That's
re-sign
huge.
Matthews.
Tyrann Matthews
either,
probably not going to
Melvin
be back.
Ingram, yeah, Tyrann Matthew.
They
He
brought
was
in
going to get a
Justin
big
Reed.
payday, but Justin Reed's not Tyrann Matthew.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be.
in
It's going to
in
be.
no world.
What Russell said was 100% right. Every single AFC West game should be primetime television. It's must-watch television every single
Hope
time
you
we
win 'em.
play. I think we will.
All right, so that happened, and I will say this though. The Raiders still have to improve their defense. I think Chandler Jones and Max Crosby
Secondary,
is
you
a
mean?
great start. Their secondary, I'm not so low on.
Okay.
I think it's okay. Rock Ya-Sin is a starter.
For sure,
Nate
forgot they
Hobbs
got him.
is a really good slot. I think they have to upgrade that other corner. I like Rock Ya-Sin, but he's not a number 1 corner.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Everett, they got him from Baltimore. He's not bad. Trayvon Mullen he's average.
Trayvon Morgan?
No, Mullen.
Okay.
Darius Phillips, who's coming from Cincinnati, he played well for Cincinnati in 2020. Didn't get much playing time in 2021, but he's a good corner too. And their safeties, Trayvon Merrick and Jonathan Abrams, they're good too. But I think their run defense isn't going to be that. I think it's going to be a bad run defense. And that's why I'm worried about them right now. Their offensive line, like you said, is not going to be very good. But Josh McDaniels is one of the best offensive play callers in the NFL because that's what he is. That's what he is. Last year,
I have my concerns.
I mean, you can have that, but last year I think the knock on McDaniels is that, well, he has Brady, right? That's always a knock on him. Last year he had a rookie quarterback. Last year he had no elite weapons on the outside. The offensive line struggled early. They got better as of late.
Agreed.
Josh McDaniels, that offense was one of the better red zone offenses. They were one of the best offenses in general. They were one of the best third down offenses, and that was with a rookie quarterback. So that to me tells me that Josh McDaniels, now that you have established players and you have legitimate threats, and Derek Carr, who's a great one, McDaniels' offense is all about processing stuff pre-snap and making reads that way. Derek Carr is one of the smarter quarterbacks in the NFL to handle that type of offense. So I think their offense is going to explode and be phenomenal next season with all the guys they have at their disposal. I don't think the offensive line is going to be that big of a deal come the regular season.
Okay.
And I think they'll draft players to hopefully fill those holes. Hopefully Leatherwood can be good because he was really bad last year. But the Raiders are in a good position. Short term, I think this is great for them. There's no doubt about it. I have some of my concerns long term, paying somebody that much. But that's all depending on where Adams is in a couple years. He could very well still be elite. There's no doubt about it. So it all really depends on that. But this move definitely, for me, bumps them up to second in the division. I think the Chiefs, taking into account the slow start they had in 2021, the defense wasn't good. I don't know. It's like there's some gray area for me with that. And I think usually when you talk about teams that are dynasties like the Chiefs that go on these runs where they go to Super Bowls and AFC championships, it usually stops by the 5th year. And we're getting closer to that time mark.
Yep.
So this might be the season where the Chiefs do drop off but they could very well be the best team in this division. I think this division, it wouldn't surprise me if the Chargers, Raiders, or Chiefs finish first. The only team that would surprise me is with the Broncos. If you guys finish first, I would be shocked.
For the most complete team.
I would be very surprised if the Broncos
Chargers are
finish first.
really complete.
You think all four make the playoffs?
Yeah, I think all four make the playoffs. Yeah, but the Broncos are the only team that would shock me, bro. That's
Why
the
is
only
that, though?
team.
We're awesome.
Mid.
Not as awesome as the other
Russell's
teams.
going to remind everyone why he is a top 3 quarterback in the league.
No bias aside.
Top 3?
He was number 2 at one point, man.
That was a minute ago, though.
Not
I mean,
really,
bias
it was like
aside.
2-3 seasons.
I was like, that had to be like 3 seasons ago.
Lamar, when he was
he was never better than Mahomes, Brady, Aaron. Never.
when Lamar won MVP, and he was the number 1 quarterback, the number 1 player in the NFL.
What year was that?
2019, correct?
Didn't Mahomes win the Super Bowl 2019?
Russell Wilson was number 2. Yes, and they had Mahomes at 4.
You're talking about the
The NFL top 100.
All right. I mean,
That takes a lot into account.
okay.
Bias aside, I know it's hard for you to envision a reality where you're not a Broncos fan.
You're trying to take me out of that mode right now.
But if you weren't a Broncos fan, which of these 4 teams, ranking in order, would you be most excited to see play?
The Broncos. I mean that wholeheartedly.
I'll say the Chargers for me.
How many times has a Bronco fan, not just me, a Bronco fan said, if we had a quarterback, the team would be different? Of course, I'm a Bronco fan, so I'm saying that. I've said that to you guys so many times. I'm not the only one. You'll see it. You see it in every single comment section of every TikTok we post on Denver. If we had a legit quarterback, we would be a real contender, a real threat.
Let's see.
So now we get Russell Wilson, who is a prime-time elite quarterback option.
So
we got to be must-watch television.
So let's do this real quick then. So the AFC West, we know is stacked. So let's rank these teams in order from the team we're most excited to see watch next season versus the least excited we are to see watch, even though they're all exciting. Number 1, the Raiders, getting Davante Adams and Josh McDaniels now being the play caller. That's going to be huge. Number 2, the Broncos, just because of the Russell Wilson addition. Even though, like, on a consistently, I would like to watch the Chargers and Chiefs over the Broncos more, but I'm anticipating the Broncos playing, like, if it's between on Sunday, if all games are going on at the same time and it's the first game of the season, I'm tuning into the Broncos one first just to see Russ play.
For sure.
The Broncos are number 2. The Chiefs, for me, are number 3 because they got Juju, and the Chargers are 4 because Chargers are virtually going to have the same team they had last season, so I already know how that looks like.
For me, the most exciting team to watch next season for the AFC West is going to be my Denver Broncos. We bring in Russell Wilson, completely changed the look and the landscape of how we're projecting the Broncos season in 2022-2023 season. They've got to be number 1 for me. Number 2, Las Vegas Raiders. You bring in Davante Adams to pair with Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, Derek Carr. It's going to be an offense that is going to be prolific. They're going to be very exciting to watch. I have to give them their respect. Number 3 for me is going to be the Chargers. Chargers are a young team that still have to get their foot in the door of really being one of those teams that every team is fearing when they see them on the schedule. And I feel like that's going to be them this season. And number 4 is the Chiefs. We know what they are. They're an amazing team who've been to the big game every single season for the past 4 years. You know what you're going to get with the Chiefs starting a season. So it's nothing exciting other than the fact that Mahomes is box office.
All right. Well, for me, I got number 1. I got the Chargers. I think Justin Herbert is still going to be fun to watch, and then that defense, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, J.C. Jackson, Derwin James. Like, I'm just excited to see that combination. And like you said, they have a combination of youth, and that's going to be great to see. For me, number 2 would be the Raiders. Derek Carr, Davante Adams. I'm excited to see that dynamic duo, Chandler Jones, Max Crosby. And then number 3 for me is Denver. Russell Wilson in a new environment with Jerry Jeudy. Now he has an established quarterback, Cortland Sutton, so that's going to be interesting to see. And plus, Justin Simmons is one of my favorite players, so I actually love him. So.
He's elite.
And then fourth, the Chiefs. All these teams are going to be exciting. The Chiefs are still one of the most fun teams to watch on earth. But like you said, we've already seen that story so much. They're excited. We know what we're going to get. But all 4 teams are going to be talented. That's my roster.
It's really freaking hot in here.
You think so? I'm cold.
I'm sweating, bro.
I'm cold.
Maybe it's because I have a sweater on.
Maybe.
But you have a sweater on too, and are you cold or hot?
I'm actually in the middle. I'm like in the middle here.
I am sweating, bro. I have to wipe sweat off my forehead.
You look fine, bro.
I'm sweating.
Look handsome.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Appreciate it, cuties.
Of course.
Now that we're finished with the football portion of the podcast, we're going to go on to the basketball one. And before we go on, we want to tell you guys that you guys can save some money if you use our promo code with SeatGeek. Promo code PickAsidePod. You can save $20 when you purchase a ticket if it's your first time purchasing on the app. And, yep, you can use PickAsidePod. We hope that you guys keep us in mind when you're purchasing your tickets. Maybe you want to go to one of your favorite team's games. I know in our area, Knicks tickets are very expensive.
Nets,
so I would love to get a discount on some Knicks tickets.
Definitely.
Use promo code PickAsidePod and you can. Thank you guys so much for supporting us in that way. Now on to the basketball portion of the show. Steph Curry got injured. Because of his injury,
I'm gonna laugh at him, not the Riv.
The Warriors may drop off in the standings. And Riv, not too long ago, said that he thinks the Warriors would dog walk any team in the Western Conference. But after Draymond being injured, and now Steph, who's not the heart and soul of the team, but one of the more important players on that team, it means that they might drop off. So, Riv, what do you think about this Steph Curry injury? What do you think about how he got injured? There was some talk about that in the Marcus Smart play. I want to know your thoughts on it.
So, I was at Applebee's. I was watching the game. I was actually just coming off a men's league game. We just won.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like,
vibes are up.
Yeah, I'm
Vibes
like,
are
let's
up.
go watch the Warriors game. Boston Warriors. It's gonna be a great game. Boston's a really good team. They're on fire. We're getting our big three back. We're finally healthy. I'm excited to see that dynamic. The big four. Nobody could beat us when we're healthy. So I'm walking in, and then I see it. I seen them limping, and I was just like, oh my goodness. But I don't think it was a dirty play by Marcus Smart. Dangerous, yeah, but that's a part of the game. He's diving for the ball. He's a hustle player. That's what he does. I wouldn't necessarily call it a dirty play. I don't think it's that. Stuff happens. You know what I'm saying? It just sucks that it had to happen to Steph Curry. So I don't think they were talking about on first things first. It should be banned. I'm not going to go that far.
Diving for a ball, I'm not going to go far. Come on.
No, it's hustling. It sucks.
It's been the game forever.
So Steph Curry's going to be out. He's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. My guess is he'll probably be back game 1 or probably game 2 of the playoffs. This is actually maybe a blessing in disguise. Get him some rest, get ready for the playoffs. But Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson have played their whole careers together. I'm not worried about their chemistry. I know they'll be fine. They know their spots at this point. They know what they're going to be. It's the other guys I'm worried about. Jordan Poole, trying to figure out how to play with all three of them. He has yet to do that. Kuminga, where is he going to fit with all three of them? Even Andrew Wiggins, he hasn't played with all three of them. And I think Kerr at this point, as you can tell with his coaching, he's trying to figure out rotations, trying to figure out stuff like that, because this Warriors have been in and out of the lineup. Guys have been in and out, being banged up, been hurt. So his focus on these last couple games was just getting the rotations in order, trying to figure out who plays well with who, what rotation works with what. And it's just been tough because Dre's missed time. Then Dre finally comes back, and now Steph's going to miss time. And then before that, Klay was missing time. He was out. So it's just been tough dealing with these injuries and not being able to get that chemistry together. But my statement doesn't change because Steph Curry gets hurt. I think if Steph is healthy, if Dre is healthy, if Klay, first of all, they haven't lost a series when they're both healthy in mad long. So
because of KD.
They haven't been in the playoffs in mad long.
That's true. Touche. If Steph, Klay, Dre, Wiggins plays, I am extremely confident in any series in the West that they can win that series. I'm very confident. I don't think any team.
Are y'all even beating the Grizzlies?
Are you serious?
I'm being serious.
Healthy?
Healthy, of course, but this is best case scenario now in your world right here.
That's why. Did you not hear?
But no, let's talk about right now. Steph.
We
Curry.
wouldn't play the Grizzlies in the first round, and Steph is going to be back by the second round.
It's going to be the second round that you guys would play.
Steph will be back.
Are you going to trust that Steph's going to be 100% ready to go?
I think he'll be fine.
Okay.
I think he'll be fine. I think at this point,
ankle injury is tough to immediately come back and be yourself.
In the first round, he's going to come back. In the first round, we'll play a 6 seed. It'll be tough. I don't think we fall lower than 3. I think we'll be either 3 or 2 for the rest of the season. And I think that would be tough to get him. But I think right now with the way the team is playing, Klay, Dre, we got Poole, who's been exciting the last couple games. I think he doesn't need to come back and be automatic Steph Curry just in spurts. But like you said, in a second round matchup against the Memphis or the Suns, we're going to need Steph to be the best Steph possible to beat them. But I think if he comes back and we got that big 4, we can still beat any team in the West.
First of all, I think the play wasn't dirty. It was Marcus Smart diving for a loose ball. The injury probably could have been prevented if Steph Curry dived for the ball as well, because he was kind of just standing up straight, and Marcus Smart was the one to hustle for it. Steph Curry didn't hustle for it. So maybe if he was the one to hustle, it could have happened. And all jokes aside, I hope Steph Curry is okay.
Smart
he gets
literally
better.
kicked Clay in the head 5 seconds later. He's a sick guy, bro.
He's a hustle baller.
I hope Steph is okay. Looking at the Warriors, though, they're 2-4 without Steph this season, which isn't horrible, given that some of those games have been without Draymond Green. They're 2-7 without him in the 2020-21 season. They were 2-7 without him. He's third in plus minus behind Jokic and Embiid, second in win shares. He's averaging 25 on the year. Hasn't been his most efficient season, but we know who Steph Curry is. I think the Warriors in the beginning of the season looked like this dominant team, and they still are to a degree, but they looked virtually unbeatable in the beginning of the season. But later on, I would say right before the All-Star break and post-All-Star break, Steve Kerr started experimenting with younger players and putting Kuminga in more, putting Moody in, and because of that, I think it's kind of hindered the team. I think the Warriors easily right now could have been the best team in the Western Conference record-wise and could have been right there with Phoenix. But because Steve Kerr has been experimenting with these lineups, trying to develop trying to develop these younger players, it to a degree has kind of hindered the Warriors' title chances just a bit because of that. I think Kuminga has proven himself to be a player who should get playoff minutes because he can guard guys like LeBron, guys like Tatum, Jaylen Brown,
he can't
guys
guard
like Luka.
Though.
Yeah, so I think he's earned playoff minutes. Moody right now is jumping in the rotation as well because he's just a savvy player. But given Steph Curry being injured, the Warriors have the 10th easiest remaining schedule. They still have Poole. They still have Clay. They still have Wiggins. Draymond, who is the heart and soul, is back. If he wasn't here, okay, wow, they might drop off significantly.
Heart and soul, man.
But Draymond is back, and the bench is still very good. Now, could they drop? They very well could drop. And it's led me to now ask or wonder about a potential Suns and Warriors second-round matchup. All year long, we're talking about them meeting in the Western Conference Finals because they were the 1 and 2 seed. The Warriors could be in a position where Utah now jumps them. Dallas is playing really well. They could, if they go on a bit of a hot streak, they can jump them as well. We could be looking at Golden State as a 4th or 5th seed in the West and now have to face Golden State in the Phoenix in the second round. And now you have Memphis, who they don't have to go through any of those teams to get to the WCF. And Memphis versus an injured Warriors team could beat them. I think the Suns are the team that I see that I don't think they'll beat them regardless, unless Chris Paul is hurt. This is huge news for Memphis.
So the Suns are going to the finals for you now?
I wouldn't say that. It's always been Suns and Warriors for me. But
I thought the Warriors were your clean cut guys.
I think Warriors, if they're healthy, they'll make the finals.
Okay.
If they're healthy, they'll make the finals.
Okay. All right, listen.
Don't change.
Oh, listen, of course. I have to make sure me and my guy are on the same page.
I never changed my stance.
Oh, my God. Dude makes the name of the show.
He's crazy.
And can't live up to it.
He's a crazy guy.
He's funny at least, which I'll give it to him.
What do you mean?
And he's cool.
The name of the show is called Pick a Side.
Exactly.
You pick side and flip the next side and then go to the other side.
But that's called picking a side. That's literally
it's
called
not called
picking a
pick
side.
Multiple sides. It's just pick a side. You pick one side and you stand on that side until you're wrong, and then you go pick another side.
Maybe we should add pick a sides. Maybe you should add like a little S there.
You could do that.
Pick a sides.
Yeah.
Well, in the Discord chat, when I'm in the voice chat with them, they tell me all the time. They actually made this analysis of me. It was when I'm wrong, I'm really wrong. But when I'm right, I'm really right.
So you're like a hit or miss.
I'm like a home run hitter. That's what I am.
I respect that.
What are you batting?
I think 600.
600. All right. I'm going to let
Timberwolves take was fire.
That was a
That was a strong
That was
take.
really good.
You guys laughed.
No, we laughed
didn't
at
laugh.
fifth
He
seed,
laughed,
bro.
and I
We
laughed
laughed
at
at
him
fifth
laughing.
seed. That's what we laughed at. No, you didn't.
I laughed at you
You're lying.
laughing.
Hold on. You're
Fifth seed
lying.
right now
No,
is
I didn't.
reasonable.
You're lying.
You guys
No,
all
no,
laughed.
we all laughed. Don't.
When he said fifth,
you laughed
you
with me.
put in your hands and started
But you were
to
laughing
laugh.
with. Don't
It
put
was
that
hard
just
not
on
to
me,
laugh,
bro.
No,
Don't
I'm
put-
being honest.
No, we're not gonna put that just on me. I know I laughed.
I had
but
the
you also
I had the
laughed with
Timberwolves
me.
like seventh, so it's like it wasn't
Both
that
of you
egregious.
guys laughed along with it.
I laughed because of you.
All right,
You bullied
this
him.
guy's folding.
I'm folding. I'm being honest.
Folding.
That being said, going on to Steph Curry and the Warriors,
Be nice.
I'm going to be nice because this is a big loss. This is Steph Curry. This is one of the faces of the NBA. Anytime you lose one of the faces of the NBA, it's going to hurt the league. This is nothing that anyone wants to see. We all want to see Steph Curry on the court. This is a huge loss for the NBA and all of its fans. Now, to talk about the Warriors, Curry's impact is going to be felt. You don't feel confident losing a player that averages 25 points per game, regardless of the efficiency this season. Anytime you're losing anything egregious like 25 points per game, your team's going to feel it, especially when you don't have another 20-point per game scorer on your squad. Can Clay do that? Sure. Can Poole do that? Sure. Average 20 points. I don't feel overly confident in these guys to night in, night out come in and be dominant scorers and you guys be okay on that side of the ball. Defensively, you guys are going to be fine so long as Draymond Green is healthy. But even still, we saw it last season. When Curry was not on the court, you guys were one of the worst teams in the NBA. When he comes back, you guys were making a huge run for the play-in. When he was in the lineup, right, you guys were projected 5th seed last season.
They went 2-7 without him.
2-7, which is the difference between being a play-in team and not being a play-in team, which is unfortunate. That being said, I look at the Warriors, and I do have worries for them dropping. I don't think they're going to drop anything lower than 4. That's the absolute minimum. But in that sense, now you're playing against the Mavericks in the first round, a hungry Luka Doncic, who is going to be looking into this series to want to attack the Warriors and be the one to take them out. That's not a series that if I'm the Warriors, I want to go into. Right now, I feel more confident going. Who would you guys play if you guys went in right now? Timberwolves?
Denver.
Denver. Denver's another one that I'm
I'd
not.
rather play Dallas.
Yeah, at this point in time, I get it.
No, it's just
I
a better
get it.
matchup.
Yeah, for
It's a
sure.
better matchup.
Especially because you guys don't have someone that can guard Jokic. Regardless of how great Draymond
we don't
Green
have
is
a big.
defensively, you have no one that's an answer
Right now,
for.
the Warriors are 3 games up on the Jazz, 4 games up on the Mavs.
I mean, if
That-
Utah
yeah, if
when it
Utah
drops to
could
5 and
yeah.
we go to 4, I'll play Utah. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Fine.
I don't know if Utah's the best matchup for you guys.
I'm okay with Rudy Gobert.
I think you guys could get past Utah.
We can get past any. It's just
I think Curry. I'm optimistic as you are. I think he could come back the first round. But if Curry is not in round 1, you guys can get
the
upset.
problem is if he comes back for like a game 3 or 4 and we don't at least split the first 2 games, we're in trouble. Like we're in.
If Curry
big
does
trouble.
not play the first round of the playoffs,
We're
you guys
done.
can get upset.
We're done.
It's that simple.
We're done. I don't agree.
My
I don't
worry,
disagree.
no,
We're done.
that's what I'm saying. Especially against a hungry Luka Doncic, especially against Jokic, who is right now the MVP of the league.
They'd lose to Minnesota too without Steph. What do you mean?
That would be
Why do you
great.
make that
say
face?
it.
I know.
Like, you made a sound.
It's one of
I
those
didn't
things
even
that
make
you
a
have to
sound.
think about. You have
Yeah,
you can't say something like,
let
me think.
bro. Let me think
It would
about
be
it.
it would
Without
be
Steph though, come on.
A bunch of my god.
What is there to
they
think about?
probably would lose.
How will we lose? I'm fine with Dre on Cat. I'm fine. I'm so
fine.
fine because he's like a guy who likes to go out and shoot jump shots. I'm fine with that.
But he can do it all. He can. You got to give him that respect.
Who's guarding Edwards?
Who's Wiggins probably
How'd
would
you
be on
laugh?
him.
Because it's still a wait and see on what Edwards can do in the primetime moments,
It's
playoff
true.
times.
What
It's
about
true.
D'Lo?
But it's still
D'Lo's gonna be what
it's a
D'Lo's
question
gonna be.
on what Wiggins can do in the playoffs. It's a question of what Poole can do in
Well,
the
Wiggins
playoffs.
doesn't have to do as much as Edwards.
True. No,
to be
for
fair.
sure.
So-
100%. But if Steph's out, he's going to have to take a little bit more load offensively.
I mean, defensively, he's always been there.
For
So
sure.
I
For
think
sure.
that would be fine.
For
Minnesota's a sneaky pick, though. I just have to think about it.
With-
you can't just say things
I don't
like
know
that.
if you got to think about it without Steph.
They're not that bad without Steph, bro.
Offensively, I do have my worries. Listen, we still overlook Curry's playmaking abilities.
I don't. He does.
I'm just saying, for that fact, you're losing your
Dre's
second
there.
best, for sure, which is what makes it okay. But even still,
I think defensively he'll be able to
Curry's-
stay in games. And then it gets tricky in the fourth.
Yeah, it gets tough. It does. You need Clay to
Clay
continue
is-
to, for sure. He's been slowly but surely getting comfortable back to his normal self. I agree. Poole now is going to get his minutes back. That's exciting. But in the sense of you lose the playmaking that Curry brings, you lose that fear that Curry brings to other defenses. That is a loss that just goes unspoken for just because a lot of people underrate that about Steph Curry. The fear of we have to account for him wherever he is on the court, and that frees up so much space for these other guys. I do have my worries. If he's not healthy round one, I do think you guys can lose that matchup.
To Minnesota.
I think regardless of who you play.
Okay, that's fair.
What about the Clippers?
Oh, God.
No.
Come on, bro.
I don't think it'll get to that. I don't think it'll get to that.
Yeah, no. I mean, they're going to the playoffs.
I think the Jazz could beat you without Curry. I think the Nuggets could beat you guys without Curry. The Mavericks could beat you guys without Curry.
Minnesota got to show me.
Timberwolves.
They got to show me.
I'll be
It's a
honest.
great series.
I'm not as high on Denver as you. I think I love Jokic, of course, and that's a bad matchup. I don't trust anybody else on their team.
That's a fair point.
We saw it last season where the Nuggets had no second option and they still got past the Blazers.
Michael Porter Jr. played.
You're right. You're right.
He played.
You're right.
In the playoffs.
You're right. You're right.
Sorry. I just wanted to
Isn't he supposed to be coming back soon?
He's on track too, yeah.
Listen, and we were just talking about it not too long ago. If MPJ comes back and then Jamal Murray comes back.
Oh, no, Denver's
really
a bad matchup in general for me. But it's, I think there's
Bones
still
Highland has been very exciting for them this season as well.
I think they're still a good team because the defense, you don't like Steph Curry has improved on defense, but the defense is still gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? Offensively, it's just now guys got to step up. Clay has to be better and stop shot chucking everything he sees, and Poole has to be better. But I think Poole is good enough where he'll be all right. You know what I'm saying? I think Draymond, his leadership, he's gonna be able to rally the guys.
Is he gonna be the only ball handler for you guys?
Who?
Draymond Green.
No, Poole.
You think Poole can do that?
Do what?
Facilitate?
He has the ball when Steph's on the court. So it's like
okay.
He can do it.
All right.
It's just when Clay gets the ball, sometimes he shoots everything, man. He's
I mean, that's just been his role for
I think he's got
forever.
worse at it. He just shoots everything. I don't know.
Whenever people talk about the Warriors, everybody seems to mention James Wiseman, and he just had another setback, so he's probably not playing at all this season. But I don't ever feel like he was going to have a huge role with Golden State this year anyway.
Let me ask you guys a question.
I think against the Nuggets, though, it would have been huge to have.
No, Joker would have broke him down mentally.
Of course, no doubt.
Let me ask you a question, though.
Interesting.
Playoff time.
Mentally. You're right. You're 100% right.
Nah, yeah.
Because that's a fact.
Playoff time. Who you playing? GP or Moses Moody?
Gary Payne.
Gary Payne, right? I don't think Moody's probably going to see playoff time.
And Gary Payne's minutes have been so inconsistent, but when he plays, he's such an impact player.
He's hurt right now. That's why. I think for Minnesota purposes, they'll probably put him on D-Lo and stuff like that. Like defensively, he's the best person to guard John Morant when they play Memphis because Wiggins cannot guard John Morant. It's too slow. It's very weird.
John Moran is one of the quickest players in the NBA.
Yeah, but Wiggins acts like he has duck feet sometimes. So
you got to remember, he is a wing. It's tough to defend against those quicker guards.
he's a quick wing though. Supposed to be a quick wing.
True.
He's very athletic.
He is. He is. That's been his shtick since he got drafted in the NBA.
He's talented. Not that much skill, just talented.
He's got defensive skill for sure.
Yeah.
But he's mostly a guy that was talented coming out.
That's actually another example. He coming out, he was really talented, a little raw, but very talented. So they said LeBron.
Would you say hype?
Definitely hype. Talent. Talent breeds hype.
Okay.
I got you, bro.
Back to the Deshaun debate.
No.
Earlier this week, there was a report that came out that Quinn Snyder might consider leaving. There's a rumor.
I hated this.
Quinn Snyder was rumored as a possible replacement for Greg Popovich earlier this league year. Popovich now is the most winningest coach of all time in NBA history. He has more wins than multiple NBA franchises. He's a 5-time champion. And his successor, which I thought was going to be Becky Hammond, she's now coaching the Las Vegas Aces.
Shout out to her.
So she's coaching the WNBA. That means the Spurs head coaching job may be open. Do you think that Quinn Snyder could be a great replacement for Popovich, and how likely is this to even happen?
What's crazy is Quinn Snyder is like a perfect Popovich comp, honestly. He gives me Popovich vibes, the way he coaches, the way he's disciplined, the way he just acts on the sideline. It makes sense. And San Antonio is like boring, kind of sophisticated. You know what I'm saying? So Quinn Snyder gives me that type of energy. I think honestly, his tenure in Utah is based off how long Donovan Mitchell is going to be there.
10 year.
Wow, that's exactly what I said as well, man.
Dog.
That's a fact.
His tenure. This is the smart guys, the school guys. While we're here,
I was going to let you rock.
Nah, don't let me rock.
Okay,
Correct me.
all right.
The 10-year. Thank you. I know how to say it, but yeah. If Donovan Mitchell gets traded, Snyder's gone. That's how I feel. Like, as long as Utah is where they're gonna be, even if I think even if Mitchell doesn't get traded, but they don't make a deep run, there's a possibility they could look in the next direction for another coach. And for San Antonio, if Snyder's on the market, what other coach realistically would be better? I don't think Mark Jackson or Kenny Atkinson, as much as I love Kenny Atkinson's development skills, I don't think he's a better coach than Quinn Snyder. So I think at that point you got to look at it. It looks like a possibility because Quinn Snyder has been in a hot seat for a couple of years now. You know, he's been talked about he might not be the guy to take Utah over the top. As much as we like to blame Snyder, even though it's the players, but that's a topic for another day. I think his time there is.
I don't know. You give credit to Ty Lue for doing what he's doing with the group of guys he has. If you gave Ty Lue those guys in Utah, you don't think that'd be a different story?
Ty Lue's a better coach than Quinn Snyder.
My point, but you're saying it's the players that ultimately.
No, but I don't think when people blame the loss on the Clippers on Utah, I don't think it's Quinn Snyder's fault. I really don't. I think he put out the best lineups, and people like to get mad at him because he didn't adjust, but he couldn't really adjust. He didn't have the personnel to adjust. And it's like, how can you take out Rudy Gobert when statistically they're garbage without him? So it's like that's why I think when people blame Snyder, it's like not really his fault, you know. But I think like his time there is based on Donovan Mitchell. So I think if he's looking at it, if he gets fired, San Antonio should definitely jump on that market for Quinn Snyder because that's one of the best coaches probably on the market at the time. But I don't think Utah should go off him. But I think that would be a good combination. He goes to San Antonio. DeJounte Murray can learn under him. Keldon Johnson. That's a good type of. San Antonio has a good, all right team where you can get a coach in there, and because they play hard, you know. Yeah, they play hard.
Give your thoughts because I have similars to his.
I think this would be great for the Spurs, and I don't think the Jazz are too far away from collapsing. I think the Jazz are a disappointing playoff run away from collapsing. I think if it's possible they get upset in the first round in these playoffs, and if that does indeed happen, I think Donovan Mitchell asks for a trade, and after he asks for a trade, depending on who they get back, because Mitchell, it's been rumored a lot that he wants to be on the Knicks. RJ Barrett is finishing off this season post All-Star break, is averaging 26 points per game. If we make a run at Donovan Mitchell, I think RJ Barrett might have to be in that trade. If the Jazz get back RJ Barrett, I don't know. Maybe he might stay because of that, because you now have a player who can be one of the better two-way players in the NBA and RJ, and pair him up with Rudy. You now improve defensively because he is a 6'7" wing who can defend and guard, and he's, you know, much taller than Donovan. You know, Donovan's a better player, there's no doubt about it.
No,
You're doing that? You're giving up RJ for Donovan?
Yeah, would you do that? Be honest.
I really don't know.
Doesn't mean Donovan's a bad player.
That's tough for me.
Because you were shitting on Donovan. But
I'd have to sleep on it. And I say that because I don't know if Donovan Mitchell, he doesn't make us championship contenders. And I don't think that, given his contract, we probably can compete later on either. We'd have to build the pinpoint perfect team. And the NBA right now, I think from what we've seen in the last 10 years, is a wing-dominant league. And RJ Barrett right now, what he's showing is that he probably has Jaylen Brown upside. So because of that,
I like that.
You know, would I take a Jaylen Brown or a Donovan Mitchell to start my team with? I probably go with Jaylen Brown just because of what he can do and the versatility he offers. And that's why I think Donovan Mitchell also, he's prone sometimes to get injured as well, which is not always a good thing, especially if you're in the East, which now looks very tough, like a tough conference. I think right now the Knicks are on a their timetable right now should be predicated on building around RJ, quickly becoming more of a point guard, Quentin Grimes getting better. I think our young core is already great as it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know if bringing in Mitchell is the best idea, but that's what I think could probably make Quinn Snyder stay in Utah if they do get somebody like RJ Barrett in return. He was a part of the Spurs organization from 2007 to 2010. He coached their G League team. He got a contract extension in 2019. with the Jazz. But since then, he hasn't. I'm not sure how many years it was, but it's probably expiring soon. I feel like the Spurs are the perfect team for Quinn Snyder, and I think he'd be the perfect predecessor to Greg Popovich. And when looking at the Jazz and the Spurs, I think, have more young talent, and given their record of where they're going to finish this season, they could get a top pick. And if they do get a top pick and can land a Jabari Smith or Paolo or a Chet, they can really revamp this rebuild fast. They got guys like DeJounte Murray, Keldon Johnson, Lonnie Walker, Devin Vassell, Josh Primo, who I know he hasn't played this season, but he could be an impactful player in the future. And you have that with a guy like Chet or Jabari or Paolo. Now you're talking about a team who they're probably one more talented, really talented player away from being a legitimate threat in the Western Conference if we're talking about ceiling and potential-wise. I think the Spurs moving forward are more equipped to have long-term success than the Utah Jazz. They're both small markets where they both aren't going to get free agents. I think the Spurs might be more of a destination than the Jazz, though. So I think, that he's kind of going to a place where he's going from a place that he has to build through the draft to another place that has to build through the draft virtually. But the Spurs are just much better equipped to build through that right now, given where they're at.
Utah low-key has been a good player development place for a minute.
Not low-key.
Low-key as in Quinn, like a lot of people
would. Quinn has come there. He's definitely helped their player development.
Low-key as a lot of people wouldn't know that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Thanks for cutting me off. But that's what
what do you mean people wouldn't know that? They went from
if you ask 15 people outside, they probably would say no.
First 2 seasons with Quinn, they didn't make the playoffs.
I'm not saying you're wrong. You're about to tell me stuff I know. I'm just saying if you ask 15 people,
you know what? I guess because no one cares about Utah.
That's what I'm saying.
In the general sense.
So local, you know what I'm saying?
No one, but
So you guys think the Utah Jazz are like the Portland Trailblazers, like in Dame's tenure, just consistent
tenure.
Playoffs? Thank you. Damn,
that's
consistent tenure. Thank you. Like consistent playoffs, but never really getting over the hump.
The duo of Mitchell and Gobert is a complicated one because you have Mitchell, who is amazing at scoring, all right on defense. You have Gobert, who is unbelievable on defense, but really can't stretch outside the paint. He really isn't that type of player that can do that. So, and his offensive game is limited as well. He can really only pick and roll and put up baskets near the rim. It's tough when you don't have the personnel around them to really do something. I think that I probably would lean with they could be the next Portland because I don't see them winning a championship with Mitchell and Gobert being the 2 cornerstones unless they really do a great job of hankering down and putting the personnel around them that can allow Rudy Gobert to play his game and not alter it too much in that sense.
Yeah. You can go on your take.
Oh, but ultimately, I can't see Quinn Snyder leaving until he finishes his ultimate task with the Utah Jazz. In the sense of last year, they were the number 1 seed. They had all this expectation coming into the playoffs. They had one of the worst disappointments of last season. It's the unfortunate truth.
I know.
And I understand Donovan got hurt, and he was amazing. When he was 100%, he was lighting up the scoreboards. His ankle gets messed up. His offensive game was not as efficient as it was prior to the injury. And then Gobert kind of just got lost in that middle ground of I can't really extend beyond this. My defense on the paint. The small ball lineups are killing Utah Jazz, and it was a big personnel problem, like you mentioned. But Quinn has gotten that respect of being one of the better coaches in the league to the point where he is still coaching one of the better teams in the Western Conference, and another team who has Greg Popovich as their head coach wants this guy to be the heir apparent to Greg Popovich. That's respect to Quinn Snyder. But in that sense, I can't see Quinn trying to move off of this until he sees this through, until he actually can feel accomplished in Utah. Donovan just got extended. For me, before going into it, it was big on if Donovan goes, Quinn's gone. But this guy signed until 2026. If Quinn and Mitchell and Gobert can stay together, they're together till 2025, 2026. That is enough time for them to put pieces around Gobert, put pieces around Donovan Mitchell, and really contend for a chip. If I'm Quinn Snyder, I got to understand. These 2 pieces are going to be better for me right now than what's going to be there for me with the Spurs. You mentioned it. In the long run, I could see it happening where they put a good roster around the young guys and they really get it going. DeJounte Murray, Keldon Johnson, a Chet Holmgren potentially, a Jabari Smith potentially, a Paolo potentially. That's an exciting young core. But I have Donovan Mitchell, who is a top 20 basketball player. I have Rudy Gobert, who's a top 25 basketball player, one of the best, if not the best defensive players in the league. We probably can agree Draymond Green because he can guard in the perimeter and he's so efficient in the paint as well. We'll probably agree Draymond's the best defensive player in the league.
Giannis too, bro.
Giannis is up there for sure, without a doubt. But there is something that Utah can build in their time frame with Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. And I feel like if I'm Quinn Snyder, I can't leave before I see that through.
That's honorable.
It is. What more? Like, what are you gonna do though? How are you gonna build around? You know what I'm saying?
Look at Budenholzer, right? He was on the hot seat. He had to get it done. He won a championship. Now people completely look at him different.
But they don't have a Giannis. That's number one.
You don't see your opinion. You don't think Mitchell can reach a top 10 potential player?
No.
He's not Giannis. I don't disagree with you there.
I'm gonna tell you why. No, because the league is so talented and he's not as dynamic as other players.
Agreed.
I think he won't be a top 10 player in the league. I think he's great in the playoffs. He can perform better than a lot of top 10 players.
Can I ask you, is Booker a top 10 potential player?
No.
Ooh.
What are you? Is he asking you or me?
I don't know.
No, I was asking. I'm getting a landscape.
No, I don't think Booker, but I don't.
You don't think he can be?
Oh, but you didn't ask me that.
No, well, I said, do you think Mitchell can be? And I said, do you think Booker can be?
Can Booker be?
Because if you think Booker can, then I feel like we can.
I don't think Booker can be.
I think he can be. I think he can be.
That's tough to answer that. You know what I'm saying? I
understand.
He's not top 10 right now.
No.
Let me say that.
He's not.
And I'm looking at guys like Trae Young, who's probably going to jump in front. He's already jumped in front of him. He's going to be in front of him.
You're taking Trae Young over Booker?
Yes, easily, without a doubt.
Okay.
He's a generational.
Wow.
He's a generational point guard.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
So easily without. I'm looking at Zion. Zion's probably going to jump him when he gets healthy, if he can get.
I respect that.
I'm looking at Jason Tatum. If he didn't jump him this year, he's going to jump him.
Are you
too.
taking John Moran? I'm taking Tatum over Booker personally.
I'm taking Tatum also too.
Are you taking John Moran over Booker?
Not yet, but it will happen.
Okay.
And that's the thing. Like, there's guys that are going to come in that can, like, Devin Booker.
Booker's amazing.
The thing with the two guard position is it's so easy for other guys that are more dynamic to really get ahead of these guys.
He is pretty dynamic offensively.
Yeah, but I think other guys are better. Like we said, Tatum is a much better defender. He's improved as a playmaker.
For sure.
He's a better offensive player than him. So I think, like, at being at that, he's already better.
Tatum, I'm with you.
Tatum, you look at Trae Young. Trae Young's a far more superior offensive player than Devin Booker because of his extreme.
Far more.
Because of his playmaking.
He is. Yes.
His playmaking is ridiculous.
Okay.
His offensive game, the way he can able to create at the basket and take jump shots, his shot creation is ridiculous. So I look at Trae Young as a guy who's very superior at a younger age. So it's like, it's tough to not be a top 10. Like, we need to expand because it's like top 10
There's
is
a lot of talent.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's so
talent.
much talent in the league. Like, Booker's top 15 to me. I think he's top 15 certified player.
I'm with you.
But I know Phoenix Suns fans are going to be mad. They're going to call me a hater again.
You're taking Booker or Butler?
Booker.
I would take Booker.
I think easily. I don't know why I thought about it.
I asked myself that, but in sense of what?
I'm just taking Booker.
Want?
I would probably want Booker.
I agree wholeheartedly.
But I don't think Booker's definitively better. That makes sense. I think what holds Jimmy back is his scoring, but I think everything else he's better than Booker at. Defense, versatility, playmaking.
I don't know if he's a better playmaker.
Are you taking Donovan or are you taking Jimmy? I'm asking the hard-hitting questions today.
You are on point with your questions. I would probably lean.
It's a tough question. It is tough.
Donovan.
Yeah.
Book and Donovan. I'm going to leave Book and Donovan.
If Butler was healthy, he's had 5 sprained ankles this season.
No, if Butler didn't lose his jump shot, I would lean the other way.
But the thing is, he's so great at facilitating. His defense is great. He's a great rebounder. It's tough.
He borderline can't score.
Borderline. This season. He started the season amazing.
That's what it matters.
5 sprained ankles.
Yeah, it happens. I understand.
5 is insane.
Bryn Forbes scored more than him in the playoff series.
It was him versus
Nah, bro, I'm not really hearing champion. That, bro. I'm sorry. It's really tough.
True or false, though, it wasn't Jimmy Butler.
Bryn Forbes had 60 points.
He did.
Jimmy Butler had 58 in a series,
He was in hell.
Nah, bro, I can't get with that, bro.
Like, right. He went to the finals the year before, though.
As much as, like, we compared, Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell wouldn't have had 58 points. Like, it just wouldn't have happened, no matter who was guarding them. So,
listen against
might have
Milwaukee.
had that in the game.
Against Milwaukee, Booker had 2 40 pieces in the finals.
He's damn near already beat him in 5 quarters.
Yeah. No, he beat literally in one game.
Donovan Mitchell had like 35 in 2 games in a row. He's already had it. So it's like, it's tough.
You're taking Donovan over Jimmy?
Yeah, I'll take both of them over Jimmy.
What about you?
I'm taking Donovan over Jimmy.
I think a healthy Jimmy, I probably would lean Jimmy.
It's just, like I said, if Jimmy didn't lose his jump shot, if he didn't lose his jump shot, man.
Fake. Yeah. He still has a mid-range.
He just goes and tries to draw fouls nowadays. Like, it's versatile player, though.
He's a great facilitator
he's a really great
also.
Player. It's just the league is catching up, man. You need a scorer.
I'm not disagreeing.
And he's a wing, but he's like the weakest wing out of the wings.
The
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like Tatum, PG, Kawhi, LeBron, Kevin Durant. He's like because he can't score.
He still made it to a finals, and he beat Tatum.
I get it, but
Goran Dragic was the leading scorer in that playoff run.
Oh my God, do you hear that? No offense to Dragic, God damn.
Jimmy Butler did take it to another level, though. He had games
where
in the finals, he was incredible. But I'm saying, like,
without Goran Dragic, he wasn't there. Goran wasn't there.
Even Tyler Hero has some moments.
For sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Miami had a great run.
Look at all them wings. He's the weakest scorer by far.
Yeah.
Even Brandon Ingram's a better. Not saying he's better, but he's a better scorer than Jimmy Butler by far. So it's like, it's tough, man.
I got you.
Before we go on to the next segment, a quick word from DraftKings. College basketball fans join the action on the court during the biggest tournament of the year with DraftKings Sportsbook. Turn your team's victory into your own big win. New customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. It's that simple. If they win, you win. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still join the college hoops action with DraftKings pools. Everyone can play free pools all March long for a shot at a share of over $250,000 in prizes. Simply join a pool and answer questions like who will make it to the next round and who will hit the most three-pointers, then track your results. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TBPN. Bet $5 on any college hoops team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. If they win, you win with promo code TBPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Robert Woods just got traded to the Titans.
I knew it happened during the segment, and I was going to – we have to talk about that. That's a huge move. That's a big-time move.
He just got traded.
I'm not going to lie. I am upset.
Why?
I have Robert Woods in my Dynasty League. I did not want to see him go there. I did not want to see him go there.
What about to the Jets?
I would have loved that.
So, Riv spoiled it. So, breaking news, Robert Woods.
What do you mean Riv spoiled it? They was already talking about it. I got it
they
from
might
the Discord.
already know.
I got it from the Discord, bro.
By the time this happens, everybody's going to know. So, breaking news, Robert Woods has just been traded to the Tennessee Titans, and they gave up a 2023 6th-round pick for Robert Woods.
Good deal.
In my opinion, I think Tennessee hasn't been having the greatest offseason because they didn't make splashy moves, at least in the first 2 days. But then Tennessee went out and they signed Austin Hooper on a 1-year deal, which is huge. I think Austin Hooper can fill that Jonnu Smith role. He played in an offense in Cleveland where it was run-centric and he had to block a lot. So I think he's a perfect scheme fit in Tennessee, and he's somebody that has high upside as a receiver now that he's paired up with a quarterback that is not Baker Mayfield. I think Tannehill is better than Baker Mayfield.
Agreed.
And now you get Robert Woods. I think Julio Jones was a great big-time name. I think Robert Woods is a better scheme fit. With the Rams, we've seen him, at least Sean McVay has used him as a tight end. He was that blocking wide receiver for them. He would open up lanes for running backs. And now you go to Tennessee where they're a run-centric offense. They're going to run through Derrick Henry. You now have Robert Woods, who's arguably the best blocker at the receiver position in the NFL. He's a perfect scheme fit. He's a route technician. He has great hands. This is a great big-time move for the Titans that now has an offense that features A.J. Brown, Robert Woods, Austin Hooper, Derrick Henry. I have my concerns about the offensive line. It wasn't the best in pass pro last season. They lost Roger Saffold. Saffold was a big reason why they weren't good in pass pro because Saffold was god-awful in pass pro. But their offensive line still has some holes. They need to get better. But this is a perfect scheme fit for them. I think this is exactly what they needed in their offense.
I do like this move for Tennessee. They needed a wide receiver, too, pretty desperately to pair up with A.J. Brown to get him a little bit more open space. This was a great addition. Again, like you mentioned, he's one of the better pass blocking, run blocking wide receiver options there is, especially on a screen. To Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods was always in front of him, setting the screen right in front of him. He is one of the better blockers at the wide receiver position. I think this definitely is what Tennessee needed. They needed a little bit more versatility on the offensive side of the ball as well. Coming off a torn ACL, that's always going to be a concern for any player coming off an injury as gruesome as that. But I think for what Robert Woods can bring to the Titans, I think he fits perfectly. You have AJ Brown, who is really a Swiss Army knife, can do anything for you on a football field in terms of the wide receiver position. You have Derrick Henry, who's one of the best, if not the best running back. In my opinion, he is the best running back in the league, especially at running through the tackles, running through players. You're going to have Robert Woods on the outside setting the block for you on those corners, just going to open up more holes for you. And you just can't forget that Robert Woods is still one of the better wide receivers in the league, especially at the wide receiver 2 position. He might be one top 5 wide receiver 2s when he was healthy. He is that great of a talent. I think that you bring him now to help Tannehill open up the field a little bit more. It's exciting.
For me, I think this is a good move because I think like Julio Jones last year, like you said, big name. Everybody loved it. A.J. Brown, he was all excited. You know, his idol was playing with him and everything. It just didn't work out. Julio was banged up, and then when he played, it wasn't right. You know, I think Robert Woods at this point in time, you can arguably make the case that he might be better than Julio Jones. He's really good. He's somebody who's coming in. He's gonna definitely help, and then A.J. Brown could finally, I think, take that because I don't think he's fully taking that step yet into elite status yet, and I think he has that ability. So I think this could be the year that he finally embraces that full number 1 role, becomes that elite receiver. But you mentioned it. Those two there. Now you still got Derrick Henry. The offensive line still needs help, but so far so good. Like you said, after having a bad couple of days, they've made some solid moves.
I mean, if Titans fans are looking at this move from a bird's eye view, scratch the 2021 season. Look back at 2021. The offense was amazing. You had Jonnu Smith, A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Derrick Henry, of course. I don't even have to really mention Derrick Henry, but just the weapons wise, Robert Woods is better than Corey Davis.
Oh, for sure.
He's better than Corey Davis. Austin Hooper is just as good as Jonnu Smith. If you ask me what I'd rather have, A.J. Brown, Robert Woods, Hooper, or Corey Davis, A.J. Brown, and Jonnu, I'm going with this variation of talent.
I'm with you, for sure.
So this is why I think it's a great move. And a 6th-round pick, that's nothing. For a guy who can play at a Pro Bowl level, he had a 107.9 passer rating when targeted. And Ryan Tannehill last year, despite having a statistically down season, was not a bad quarterback. You can argue that he really went through the most turmoil offensively than any quarterback in the NFL. A.J. Brown being in and out of the lineup. Same thing with Julio. Derrick Henry goes out. Deontay Foreman has to now be the lead back. He had no option at tight end. The pass pro was awful, and he still made it work, and he still was a competent quarterback. So hopefully with this move, he can get back to playing at his 2020, 2019 level, and the Titans can make a run. I think this now puts them in position to win the division.
This move specifically?
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
I think it does.
All right.
I think it does.
Okay.
I mean, the division pretty much stinks.
If the Colts can get a quarterback, a competent one, and then they can get a wide receiver, a legit one, I probably would put the Colts over the Titans, but I think this move as of now probably cements them over to be the favorite again.
You don't like Pittman Jr.?
They need another weapon.
They need another one. Okay. Their last season, their number 2 had under 400 yards. That's horrible.
I like Pittman.
I'm going with the Titans. When we spoke about it, when we did our AFC South preview. Yes, correct. Yes. I'm sorry. I'm just drawing the ill blank. Yes, when we did that preview, I had the Titans being my top team. Jaguars are intriguing. We spoke about that. They are intriguing, but I still have my reservations about that. We have to see how Trevor Lawrence comes out in year 2. That assessment can be done very fast depending on how he starts the season, but you cannot doubt what the Titans have done, especially off last season where week in, week out, we were questioning what they were doing, and they ended up being the top seed in the AFC. A disappointing end to their season, and unfortunately that was because Tannehill wasn't at his best. Ultimately, I think that you still have to give them that courtesy and that respect of them being the top team in that division.
I was high on the Jags, then I became low on them because I think their linebackers are awful.
Losing Miles Jack was bad.
Yeah, and I think that the defensive line isn't very good. If they draft Aiden Hutchinson, I probably may change my mind. But then again, then I'm banking on a rookie to change an entire defensive line.
Well, Josh Allen and Aiden Hutchinson is exciting.
Yeah, Josh Allen, Hutchinson, Fatukasi, like that's good.
Yeah.
But their linebackers are bad. Their safeties aren't good either.
Yep.
So there's like holes there that I'm kind of
got good corners
bit,
if they want to play man to man, but
on.
that's definitely gonna benefit the safeties to a degree. But
yeah, so that took us off track a little bit. But on to the basketball talk. The Dallas Mavericks, they've been great as of recently. Ever since the Spencer Dinwiddie trade, fun fact, since the trade happened, the Mavericks are 10-3, which is the best record in the NBA since they traded Kristaps Porzingis. I remember when we talked about the trade, and I told you guys this was perfect for Dallas. Spencer Dinwiddie is exactly what they need, and I think they'll be better without Porzingis because all season long they've been better in guard-heavy lineups that featured virtually small ball lineups as well. Watching these lineups play, watching them play together has been awesome because the other night they started Brunson, Dinwiddie, and Luka all together, and it's kind of them just going at each other, hunting matchups. And I think we've seen in the NBA that works in offense. We saw in OKC in 2019 where they had Chris Paul, Shea, and Dennis Schroeder. That three-guard lineup worked very well. I think we're seeing the same similarities right now in Dallas. You have Luka is the main guy. Brunson is the second. Dinwiddie's the third option that comes in and now creates offensively. He's been very efficient from three because he's not hunting for threes. And in Washington, he had to be more of a playmaker, which is why he didn't always get the shots he wanted. In Dallas, he's getting a lot of open spot-up threes, which he's shooting 38% on. Also, whenever players come to close out on him, he usually uses that as an opportunity to go and drive and attack the basket. He's one of the best finishing guards in the NBA at 6'5". He has the height. He has the length. And his stats with the Mavericks, he's averaging 17.5 points per game, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, shooting 49% from the field and 40% from three in 13 games. That's a pretty good sample size. I thought Davis Bertans would be better, but he hasn't been that great of an addition. I think this trade was mostly like Porzingis for Dinwiddie, and even that, to me, I think Dallas still won that because Dinwiddie is really proving to be a big-time player for them. They're the 5th seed, 4 games behind Golden State. They could go on a run. They have the 4th easiest schedule in the NBA. I don't know. I really like Dallas. I like Dinwiddie, and I told you before the season that he's better than Gordon Hayward. He just had to be in the right situation.
I'm not going to acknowledge that. I'm not going to acknowledge that. I'm going to move on from that and talk about Dinwiddie. He's been playing amazing. You know, he's in a new environment. He got traded because clearly he couldn't be the point guard over in Washington. He's finally back into his role, which we've seen him thrive in. That 6th man, that kind of third or second guy, just another guy who comes in, does his job. Like you say, he's shooting 40% from the three-point line. He's been efficient in his time in Dallas. He's been solid. Luka Doncic is showing the ability to kind of play off ball a bit, which we had our concerns kind of before this year. Can he be an off-ball type of player? He's shown that ability that he can do that. That three-guard tandem has been impressive. There's won them game and it's been really clutch. And I think the fact that, you know, I know that we talked about Jalen Brunson and his time might be up there, you know, his contract's being up this year, but Spencer Dinwiddie playing is good. I think, you know, they should try to bring Jalen Brunson back and maybe if you continue this 3-guard lineup, because like you said, with Chris Paul and Schroeder, that was one of the clutchest lineups in the NBA. And they didn't have a Luka, you know what I'm saying? So I think that kind of their ceiling in the playoffs was they didn't have that type of guy. Now they have Luka, and I think this trade, I think it needs to be said. Dwight Powell, since the fact that he's been amazing at the 5, and his ability to pick and roll with Luka kind of made Porzingis more expendable because he's a much better defender for them. He's a much better roller for Luka, and on top of that, he's a better finisher at the rim. So I think him being better, him being finally healthy, that's also helped them kind of move off Porzingis and help them be better with that lineup. And then, of course, Finney Smith, his ability to hit three-point shot, his ability to defend, play the 3 and the 4, sometimes the 5 and 2. So I think like this, like you said, Dinwiddie, it was basically Porzingis for Dinwiddie. They can throw in Bertans. When he does get in, he does hit shots, so they could throw him in if they wanted to. But the Dinwiddie for Porzingis trade was perfect for Dallas because they really essentially got somebody that fit their system, and now he's playing much better in his role.
I understand what you guys are saying about the 3-guard lineup, but I think of it from this sense. Dinwiddie is getting $18 million on average until the end of 2024. Which, from the way that he's playing, that's a fantastic contract. Let's be real. $18 million for a player that's
16.
Yeah, that hurts. That's not the best, truthfully. Not at all. But you really want to look at it from that sense. You're giving Bertans, who's barely giving you any production, $16 million, but you're giving Dinwiddie, who's giving you 17 a night on 49% shooting and 40% from 3. I'd be more willing to stick around with that contract till 2024, and this gives me a little bit more leeway with Jalen Brunson. Yes, Jalen Brunson has been fantastic for them with his role right now, but if you can go out and upgrade from Jalen Brunson, I would be looking to do that. You have Dinwiddie, who saves you some money in that side of $18 million. That's a huge contract to have on your roster. You have Luka Doncic, obviously, who is the cornerstone, the main piece of this team. You go and you can upgrade from Jalen Brunson. Potentially, I keep saying this name over and over and over again, and we disagree on it, but you can go in and you bring in a Bradley Beal into this situation, someone that can also score on top of it. I'm still looking at that, and I'm intrigued. You don't necessarily need Bradley Beal to be anything more than what he is, a scorer. And that is an improvement off Jalen Brunson, and that's just the truth of it.
You think Dinwiddie wants to play with Bradley Beal again?
I don't think he looks... This is how I would look at it. Bradley Beal would not be the best player on the team. You would have Luka Doncic, who is facilitating and running the offense. And Luka, who already has sample size with Dinwiddie, who has shown him, I can be successful in your system. I'm sure that Luka is going to respect Dinwiddie in that sense and still give him the rock.
First of all, he's going to get a supermax. Why would you want that contract when Brunson and Dinwiddie give you the same thing, maybe a little bit even more production than Bradley Beal?
Take it easy. You're not getting more production from
two of them combined.
Think about two of them combined.
See, but that's the thing. I'm already telling you, Dinwiddie's going to be along for this ride. But Jalen Brunson's going to be the
Beal's going to get paid more than both of them put together.
But you're already set on Dinwiddie till 2024. That contract's already set.
But that supermax is insane, bro.
But the thing is, he's probably going to get. Is it going to be a sign and trade guaranteed?
Can we stop talking about Bradley Beal like he's this missing piece to a team's championship aspirations?
Don't say we.
I'm not saying you're wrong necessarily. I mean it from this side of things where he's the best available free agent. If we're going to go on the list,
Zach is actually the best available.
But the thing is, where he's going to stay in Chicago. I'm already thinking from that sense. Listen, if I said Levine, you would have looked at me like I had 5 heads.
I'm looking at you like you have 5 heads because I don't think they need another guy like that.
You're telling me Luka wouldn't love another star next to him?
Not that type of star.
But what star available here would you do that for? Because then let's think about it.
You don't always have to get the best available star at the moment.
I don't disagree, but I looked
you
through.
Can wait on
maybe
one.
This year isn't the year.
But there's some good names here. You got Harden probably is going to stay in Philadelphia, but that's not official.
I'm not in love with Harden.
I'm not. Yeah, Luka and Harden. That's like having the same person.
Yeah, I'm not in love with that.
Sounds interesting though.
No, it doesn't. It sounds like it's gonna be.
I don't like star
awful.
power. Like it sounds good, but it doesn't always work.
I guess there's really no name I'm looking outside of Bradley.
That's why I will wait
because you're looking at stars. Just look at role players.
I'm really looking at role players.
Look at the small forward position and look at role players.
Joe Ingles, Andre Iguodala. These are all.
It's not the year.
Derrick Jones Jr. Kyle Anderson.
It's not the year. That's all.
Kyle Anderson wouldn't be bad in Dallas.
Solid.
He would be a good fit with them.
Joe Ingles wouldn't be bad.
No, yeah, he wouldn't be bad either.
Solid.
But he's coming off an ACL.
Yeah.
He's already slow.
He is extremely slow. He can shoot that ball.
But I'm saying, I think you're basically talking about the Dallas Mavericks.
Need a star.
No, he's talking about. You're talking about
from Jalen Brunson.
You're talking about the Mavericks now, not bringing back Brunson because Dinwiddie has come in and now has excelled in his role that he's in. We've had these conversations a lot when we talk about the Mavericks because you seem to like to pick on Jalen Brunson.
What?
Whenever Whenever Jalen Brunson
Bully.
comes up, you seem to want to always upgrade from Jalen Brunson.
What are you saying? I've never said this until today.
No, you said it before. I swear to God, you said it before. You said
God
it
is
before.
looking down on you, and he's disappointed that you would swear to God on something
You
like
said that
No,
before.
you have said
No, I
remember you
haven't.
saying
On
it.
the last Dallas segment, you just said
I didn't
something
say you should move on from Jalen Brunson. I said that he is a solid piece for you.
No, you
I
said,
said
but
that
you'd
doesn't
be
that
looking to
influences
upgrade.
me with Dinwiddie because I have Jalen Brunson. I don't feel like I need Dinwiddie, but here's Dinwiddie performing.
You said it before. Just
I
go-
haven't.
Yeah, you said it.
I haven't.
After the pod, we'll go and we'll search it up and I'll
God.
show you.
Okay, whatever. Listen, but right now I'm telling you, if that means I can improve from Jalen Brunson, and that's no disrespect to Brunson. Brunson's been awesome in his role. But if I can upgrade from that, I'm intrigued, especially with a contract like Dinwiddie's that is as kind as it is.
If the Mavericks want to be cheap, they move off from Brunson. Because you have Dinwiddie, who's taller, who's 6'5". He can't shoot like Brunson, even though he's on a little bit of a hot streak right now. But he can't shoot like Brunson. Brunson, I think, Dinwiddie's more of a finishing guard at the basket.
For sure.
Brunson is somebody who gets
So
to his
crafty.
spots in the mid-range and the elbow, a lot of pull-up jump shots. He loves to, even though he's only 6'1", he loves to post up and do a little bit of a turnaround jump shot and hit shots that way. Dinwiddie, yeah, because he's playing great, it makes Brunson expendable. But the best version of the Dallas Mavericks is having three guards who can all take the pressure off of Luka. Because the problem with the Mavericks is that whenever Luka gets off the court, they seem to take a step down because they don't have somebody that can initiate offense on a consistent basis. But now when you have Luka on the bench, you can have Dinwiddie or Brunson always being there to create offense for others, and that helps them. Tim Hardaway Jr. isn't even back yet. When he gets back, that's going to make the shooting on this team that much more
Awesome.
deadlier.
Yeah.
And right now, the Mavericks are the best defensive team in the NBA in terms of opponents' points per game. They're number one in the entire NBA. That's a Dallas Mavericks team doing this right now. Luka, since Dinwiddie, he's been averaging 31 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. Brunson's averaging 16.5, the same as just 1 point less than Dinwiddie. They're all playing great.
No doubt.
This I think is the best way to build around Luka, and I'm signing Brunson 100%.
But what would that contract be?
Probably in the Dinwiddie range.
I think he's gonna want more than Dinwiddie.
I think he'll get exactly like what Dinwiddie got, maybe 18, 19 mil.
But that's what Dinwiddie's getting. He's getting 18. You think Jalen Brunson, who has been better than Dinwiddie,
No, but you got to remember when Dinwiddie got the deal,
coming off
he
a
was
torn
coming off.
ACL.
But before that, he was
But
coming
they
off.
were
of 20
they
points per
paid
game.
they paid him off of the season he had
Yeah, he was
prior.
averaging 20 and 5.
I'm thinking of how Terry Rozier left the Celtics and he got his bag with Charlotte. I feel like it could be similar with Brunson.
Well, Charlotte
That was
did
different. That was more of a prove it. They not prove it, but they gave him that deal based off what we think you can do, and it
And
proved it.
Jalen Brunson's one
But
of those
Jalen Brunson
players.
had a better production at where he is right now than Rozier had. He was like an eighth man.
I just think of the attention that Terry Rozier drew in that free agency, and I feel like Jalen Brunson.
No,
who has
Jalen Brunson's
proven
going to get
more,
a lot. He's going to get a lot of
Rozier
attention.
got that deal off the playoff run the Celtics had.
for sure. And Jalen Brunson's
gonna
going to
get a lot of
more.
attention.
He's going to want more money than Rozier.
No, I agree. He might. It'd be a team that might give him more money, but I think like 18 and 19 would be around
what
the
you
money.
would want to give him.
If I'm
which is
Dallas,
fine.
I think that's valid.
Let me look
he's
up
not
Rozier's contract really fast.
not a $22 million player.
Did you think Rozier was a? They gave him
Charlotte is a small market.
4 years, $97 million. That's what Rozier got.
Charlotte, you can't compare a small market. Charlotte's going to pay.
But
They have
that's
to
the thing.
overpay.
There's going to be a team that's going to want to overpay for Jalen Brunson.
Right now, the
there
Knicks
isn't
are
many
linked
teams-
to him the
There isn't
most.
many teams
And
with cap, though.
I'm sure they could do that. They would overpay for Jalen Brunson.
The Knicks should pay for
That's what I'm
Jalen.
saying. They would.
You think the Knicks will overpay for Jalen Brunson?
They could. Why not? They need a point guard pretty badly.
You know, you're right.
You think we'd give him 25 mil? I don't
25
think
mil
we'd
is
do that.
insane, bro.
I don't doubt anything the Knicks do.
All right. I'll just say this. I think the Mavericks are keeping Brunson, and they'd be willing to pay him. That's the best variation of that team. Now, they have the best record in the NBA since trading Kristaps Porzingis. We've already mentioned potential playoff matchups. I think they can beat Utah. I think they
sure.
can beat Denver.
Memphis
Memphis is a
you said
tricky
they could
team.
beat Memphis.
I never said they could beat Memphis.
Who was it?
I
Somebody?
don't know.
Might have been me.
Was it you? I was going to say, you've been low on Memphis to a degree. To a
Solid.
degree.
Might have been me though. I ain't gonna lie. Might have been me. That's crazy how I really forgot. They can beat Memphis though. I'm saying it now.
Yeah.
You think Golden State, can they beat them?
With no Curry, yes.
What if Curry's injured, but he's playing?
Ooh, and he's playing hobbled.
a 70% Curry.
6 games.
You win.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'll still be 6 in
I
general.
think Curry on the court, you guys should win the series.
Agreed.
Yeah. But
Agreed.
Luka's going to be on a different level.
Does Luka get out the first round
This season? I think yes.
I don't, because I if they play Utah, I have Utah winning.
I just don't like that. Personally.
Okay, you don't.
In the sense
what
of
the
Utah.
hell?
I don't like Utah.
Oh.
Utah, I apologize. I should have finished my thought there. I don't like the idea of the Utah's playoff chances right now. I just think that even still, their lineup is very similar to last year's, and a lot has to work out. The Quinn Snyder adjustments need to be really at the forefront this season, especially against Luka, who's going to feast against them. And the way that Dallas has been playing defensively, it's going to be a tough series for Utah.
Have you guys noticed that when Luka first got into the NBA after his rookie season, he was heralded as the next star in the NBA, and he was this media darling virtually, and now this year it's kind of not been that way.
Who's this football comp? Herbert, in a sense.
I don't know. I can't think of a football comp.
That was my. I think there was a tweet of who is Herbert's comparison, and I said Luka Doncic.
Like big hype, young guy ready to take over the league, but hasn't won.
I don't know. I think for me, Luka has a similar timeline to James Harden.
Really?
So where I feel like James Harden later in his career got hated, I feel like Luka, because of his complaining to the referees and a lot of the tactics he does, he stopped though, because he told JJ Redick that now he like sings under his breath to like not complain. But I think now Luka's getting into that territory where we're not appreciating him as much, even though he is clearly going to be the face of the NBA.
Greatness becomes very boring. Like repetitive greatness becomes boring at times.
And you also have to think his style of play is not box office.
It's James Harden's style of play.
Yeah, I guess to a degree.
You did not want to say that.
Nah, I don't.
Nah, I agree with you.
I don't know how you can look at Luka and James Harden and not be like they are so similar.
They have definitely some similarities.
They are extremely
They
similar.
are literally
as
the
players.
same player.
Yeah.
Let's just come on.
They're
Yeah.
the same player outside of Luka
Harden's-
posts up way more.
And Harden's just
Luka's,
a little faster.
Yeah, Luka posts up way more and he'll take more mid-range shots. I
Harden
think he's
used
a
to
better
do that.
playmaker too.
Midi, pow, pow. Harden
When he
used
was
to-
good.
Oh wow, okay.
Just
He's
kidding.
been real stinky. He's been real stinky lately.
They just beat Dallas.
Since the
He's been
Nets
real
game, he's
stinky.
been mid.
Stinky.
He's been mid.
He
Scoring-wise.
just had 20 and 10 last night.
Did you look at his efficiency?
I mean, did you look at the game? He was
Oh, my
killing.
God. That's why I said scoring. I had to, because he can have 10, 14, and 10, but you'll great game, awesome game, incredible game. Okay. Scoring wise, he's been stinky the last couple games.
He's had like 20 in every single game.
Since that Nets game, he has not been what he was the first two.
Yeah, the
I don't
game
know.
he folded.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that.
That's true.
He's had 20 like the last 5 games, bro.
I don't. You might have to look that up.
Look
I think
it
he had
up.
17 like
Look it
one
up.
game.
Let's see.
It's either 4 of the last 5 games he's had 20, bro.
20 flat?
No, more than 20. I'm just saying like 20 as a baseline,
All right.
as a benchmark.
He has had
He had
24,
24,
21, 24, 26, 11 against Brooklyn, 16 against Chicago.
Yeah, so he hasn't been bad since Brooklyn. He's been
alright.
actually great.
Great is extreme.
He's averaging a double-double, bro.
The
He
efficiencies.
had 24 and 14 last night.
The efficiencies: 42 against Dallas, 43, not horrible. He shot 37% from 3. He made 3 threes. 41% against Cleveland, 54 against Denver, but they lost. 26
Why you add the lost part?
because 54 is great, but they
What?
just lost. Didn't mean anything.
Oh wow.
26.3. I'm being rude. I'm sorry, man. I'm really
That
being
was just
rude.
like-
That was rude. That was unnecessary.
26 what?
26.3 against Orlando, who has let up 111 points to 2 players.
That was supposed to be his 50 ball.
And he went 3 for 11 from 3, 5 for 19 from the field. And against Brooklyn, let's not even go there.
Yeah, let's close that.
He's had some 3. He's starting to get it going. Slowly but
I
surely.
told you.
Slowly but surely.
I
Yeah,
told
3
you.
good games.
3 decent games. Two decent games, 1 really good game.
I'll wait till playoff time. You know he always kicks up.
The assists have been there. I mean, that's just going to be there every single game as long as you have Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris.
Bro,
Maxey.
Tobias Harris.
Tobias has been really good
He's the
recently.
4th best player in that team.
He's been better than Maxey since the Nets game.
Oh my god.
Maxey's
This
been
week-
very passive,
He's trying to find his way. He's a young guy.
but he was so great, really aggressive off rip. And then he's kind of been passive since the Nets game. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
This week in the NBA, this is our weekly NBA segment.
Yes, sir.
What did you guys see that was interesting, or did you want to highlight?
No,
You know I have to.
I was gonna do it.
No, what are you talking about?
I'm going first.
No, you're not. Not anymore.
Yes, I am going first.
Are you talking
LeBron James 30K, 10K, 10K.
That's all right. That's not what I was gonna do. But
shout out to LeBron James, man.
so ironic that this guy's delivering that news.
No, because actually I wanted to bring it up because it was actually really interesting because when Steph Curry broke the 3-point record, they damn near threw a parade. And don't get me wrong, I loved the parade. It was great. Appreciate his greatness. He's the GOAT. But in the sense of LeBron, he had 30K, 10K, and like the league just kind of whiffed it off. Like they didn't really acknowledge it too much. I didn't see too much. Like, I saw maybe a video about it, but that was about it. So I found it interesting that he did something that probably nobody else is maybe
no one's gonna do.
Nobody's probably 30K, 10. Nah, nobody's probably ever gonna do that again.
There's been no player that's done 10K, 10K, 10K.
Yeah, I think somebody would do that though. But I don't think 30K, 10K, 10. I don't think nobody's ever gonna do that. And we kind of just like whiffed it off. But Steph Curry, and I love Steph, and I'm glad we threw the parade because he's the greatest player ever. But he broke 3-point record, and it was just like,
take it easy with that. Steph Curry is the best
and
player ever.
And we just woo. But it's like LeBron, and I guess it's because the Lakers are losing by a lot.
I'll tell you why this is, because the 3-point record itself is such a prestigious honor. Like that itself is a huge record to have.
30K,
30,
10K
10,
is
10
crazy.
is a milestone. It's not like a record itself.
Okay.
Like points per game, points per season.
That's a milestone that will never
PER.
be. That's nobody's ever touched though.
No, for sure. And that's I'm with you. I definitely agree should have been praised a little bit more, but people look at the 3-point shot now, especially because of Curry, and they hold it to a whole different standard.
That's fair.
You agree?
Prestigious.
Yeah.
Shout out to LeBron though. You know, you're still not the GOAT, but keep
Curry
trying.
is apparently.
Yeah, keep trying.
So
man.
my This Week in the NBA actually happened last night. We spoke about it a little bit. Russell Westbrook. 2 chances to tie the game to send it
he
overtime.
bricked the first one.
The first one was one of the worst misses I've seen in my life, unfortunately. It was really bad. But regardless of the noise, regardless of all the chatter that he heard in that Timberwolves game, regardless of the chatter that he heard walking into the game in Toronto with one of the fans just telling him, I want you to play better, being egregiously rude to one of the all-time greats of this game.
Is that being rude though?
He's being rude, yes.
I want you to play better.
No, he's like, he was saying it condescending, like, I just want you to play better.
All right.
Like if someone said that
What
to
did
you,
Russ say?
he's like, I'm not the one. I'm not that type of guy to mess with. All that, just like you do that.
Word.
He's like,
We feel you, Westbrook.
so to have the Stones, to hear all this noise, and to come back down again after missing terribly, and to hit the game tying shot to send it into overtime, having a great game, 22 points on great efficiency. Russell Westbrook has now become has the most game-tying or go-ahead shots in the final minute among all active NBA players with 53 go-ahead shots, or game-tying shots, more than Damian Lillard, who's number 2, LeBron James, and Kevin Durant.
Snakes.
Got to give Russell his praise because he's been getting a lot of hate this season. He's not been having the greatest of seasons, and that's obvious. But to have your moments, you still have to acknowledge them, especially when you're Russell Westbrook.
Timberwolves just won. They beat the Bucks 138-119.
Giannis
to
didn't
put that
play.
out there. I know he didn't play, but that's still a win, and that's still closer to getting the 5th seed.
What are they now?
They
How
are
many
the
games
7th.
are they out?
I think they're only 1 game behind the 6th.
And then what about 5th? Like 2?
Like 2.5.
And
2.5,
Giannis
3.
missing, I'm going to lose the championship in fantasy basketball.
Wow, look at you.
I'm going to
No.
lose.
Look at you.
Well,
Back
the
to-
Lakers lost. You lost. No.
I lost fantasy football championship.
Denver lost.
And
Yo,
I'm
you're
about
just
to lose
a lot
the
else.
fantasy basketball
and the
championship.
Yankees lost.
What do you mean we lost?
I'm talking
Are you
about
just
last year.
saying in
That
general?
year, yeah.
Whatever. Bastard.
Loser.
This week in the NBA, I stumbled upon this cool stat, and it was about how much in the middle and average the Charlotte Hornets are this season.
That is
they're
nuts.
They're 35-35. They're 22-22 in the Eastern Conference, 13-13 against the West, 17-17 at home, 18-18 on the road, and they have a 113 offensive rating and a 113 defensive rating. So everything for them is basically like even. It's mid. There's probably, by the time this show is over, they're probably going to win a game or lose one, and it's going to throw this off. But as of right now, everything is the exact same. And they're actually on a 3-game win streak, so they're playing better. They're the 10th seed right now. I don't know. They'll be in the play-in for sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they'll get into playoffs. I think this is the second year in a row the Charlotte Hornets get into playoffs.
They got
don't get into
smoked out last
playoffs, yeah.
year.
I think an advancement for them is actually being competitive in the playing game, because last year they got smoked out.
I think they can beat Atlanta, right?
I don't think they're
One
making
game?
the playoffs, though.
They can't. I don't think they'll beat it.
You got to think the Nets are a lock. They're all right. Let's not talk about it yet. I do think the Raptors will get in.
I do think the Raptors will also get in. I don't think there's no way.
Scotty Barnes, Rookie of the Year.
Oh God,
He could be.
oh my God.
He's been playing great. Mobley just had 27 though, but
Oh, they all been playing really great.
They have been. Cade's going to finish in third,
Scotty's
respectfully.
2. Scotty's 3 actually right now. Cade's 2. Don't
He's
disrespect
not.
him.
He's
you
not.
think
Cade
Cade's
is
over
2.
Scotty?
No, I'm telling you out of rookie ladder, he's 2. Last time I checked, last week he was 2. I thought I was just he's 1, but I'm saying he's 2. Oh, the rookie ladder.
Carl Anthony Towns on TikTok. He actually has this. He goes on Twitch often and does live streams. He actually was talking about the Westbrook thing not too long ago and how somebody called the Timberwolves classless and Cat wasn't having it. He was like, I mean, this guy, it was all cool and he was rocking the baby and talking mad shit. And now when we do it all, it's disrespectful to an all-time great. So Cat goes on Twitch often, and I actually stumbled upon his account on TikTok of that Twitch, and I commented, hey, what's up, bro? You trying to get on the podcast? And the reply from at least the account was that if you ask a question, he'll answer it live on Twitch. Like, he'll answer the question live on Twitch.
That's pretty lit.
So because of that, I have some questions here prepared for Carl Anthony Towns that I want to ask.
Respect.
So, what do you think, bro?
Carl Anthony Towns, I heard that if I ask you these questions, you'll answer it live on your Twitch. So I want to ask you these 2 questions. First one, what's the main reason behind the Timberwolves' success this season? And the second question is, do you feel like you are the most underrated all-NBA performer currently in the league right now? Because I think because the Timberwolves haven't had much success winning-wise in the past, people have often overlooked your play, but I think now you're getting recognized for it. But do you feel like, it's about time people recognize you because you've been great for so long, but this the season that the Timberwolves are winning, you're playing great. Do you feel like you are one of the most underrated players in the NBA currently? Usually on TikTok, last time we posted these questions on TikTok, they were like, oh, you didn't give them time to answer these questions to like stitch it.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever.
It is what it is. People complain about
Yeah,
everything.
I think he's supposed to just react to it on Twitch anyway. It's not like going to be a duet or stitch. So
There you go.
there's nothing even to like
You're
react
going to have to tune in.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to tune in, then clip it, and
Post
then
it on
clip
our
it,
own.
and then post it on our own, the
Correct.
response.
Absolutely.
That'd be dope.
That would be pretty lit.
Ben Simmons, an update on him is that Steve Nash said that after his epidural thing, which is a steroid injection to ease pain in his lower back.
Yeah, they give that to women.
Yeah.
Pregnancy.
That's
I have
great.
a baby, bro.
You nailed it. You're 100% right.
I know. I have a kid.
Nurse Drew, he knows what he's talking about.
That's what happened with when she could not take the pain.
She needed the epidural.
She was begging for the epidural.
Yeah.
So I was like, give it to her, man. She's
To the women that have natural births, shout out to them.
mm-hmm.
How they do that is flat out amazing.
It's ridiculous. That excuse my language. That shit really works.
No.
She could not feel anything. Like
Really?
Yeah. Like they had to really tell her, all right, you have to push because you won't feel
Your
when it's coming.
sensation's not
So
it.
it was like when she did it was like a lot of shit coming out. It was like really disgusting. It smelled ridiculous in the room. I tell you, like,
Wait, so while she was pushing out baby, she was just like shitting?
yeah,
at
because
the
like
same
you're
time?
pushing, so it's like because you don't feel it, so you have to really push out, and it's bad shit coming out, bro. The room smelled insane.
Yo,
bro.
that
But I watched the whole thing.
hilarious.
I watched the whole thing from start to finish. Didn't faint because I
So
wanted.
was your baby like covered in shit?
all these questions I have in my head. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask them.
I mean, you can
So you
ask
just
me.
watched her just
I swear,
diarrhea.
because I wanted to know because people kept saying, "Oh, guys faint when they see their baby." So I was like, "All right, let me see. Let's see what's
so
looking."
you're on different timing.
Yeah, I stood she's right here. I stood right here, and I watched everything happen. Like,
Yo, that's real.
the whole thing. I'm like, I want to see how this whole, and I'm just watching the baby come out and shit come out. I'm like, this is disgusting. I see why people faint, but I'm not fainting. But it's just
Yeah.
like, it's not like oh my God, a baby coming out. It's like, no, this is disgusting.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
This is absolutely nasty.
I've seen some nasty things in the
So
hospital.
what are the
I'm not allowed to talk about
outside of course the pain of pushing out a baby? What are the benefits of that steroid injection? Or actually, I would actually ask this: what are the benefits of having a natural birth, if there are
you
any?
just don't have those type of toxins in your body.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like you want the baby to just be naturally pushed out. You want nothing in the body that's not what you are already ingesting because you're already conscious of what's in it. You understand like the actual.
Yeah, nah, she couldn't
You
wait.
understand what I'm saying?
I can't get that image out of my head now.
Oh,
So,
bro, no,
you can't.
It's very vivid of what you're
Bruh,
saying. I can
it's-
picture it exactly.
It's stuck in my brain forever, bro. And then like it's like once they pick him up,
Was it like flying on the floor, or was it just
no,
like
it was like they had a big ass bag and a big like it was really there. And like once you pick him up, clean him off, you go sit him down. I went to go look at him, and you instantly cry. Like there's no stopping you from crying. Like I didn't want to cry. What the fuck?
It's a beautiful thing. It's
Yeah,
your
but it's
son.
like I'm a man. I'm not crying. And then
Come
I just,
on, bro.
I'm
That
sitting
whole
there,
masculine,
I'm
like,
look,
toxic
that's not. It's just
masculinity
me
shit
though.
is
Like
dead.
I'm looking at him, and I'm like, fuck, I'm about to cry. And I was like, and I had no reason to cry. Like it's an exciting moment.
No, you had a reason.
I'm saying it's an exciting moment, but I don't cry. So I'm like, why am I about to cry? And I'm so mad I'm about to cry.
Bro.
And it just got worse.
It's
and
all right
worse.
to have emotions, bro.
Yeah, and then
It's all right.
her stepdad came up to me. He's like, "You got to be a man now." And I'm just like, I want to stop crying. I don't care about what you're talking about. I just want to stop crying.
I'm sure he
right now.
cried. I'm sure he cried whenever he had his children.
I don't know. He's giving me the man talk. It's got to be a man. You got to step up. And I'm just
Real.
like, bro, shut up right now,
Leave
bro.
me alone.
Hey, I'm mad as hell right now. I'm crying. Like I hated that moment.
He has tears flowing down his
Yo,
face.
it was bad, bro. Like it just hit you like in a second.
Of course, bro.
So have you ever been through like a
I
birth
haven't
experience?
yet.
You
I haven't yet.
It's fun.
That is something that I wanted to do for a little while, actually, but all the stigma of being a male nurse in the OBGYN type of...
The what?
OBGYN, it's basically a gynecologist, like can be a nurse in that sense, and or labor and delivery. Like there's a huge stigma that women just don't want male nurses,
Okay.
which
Yeah, I
makes
think it was
sense
like
because
6
there's men that are
There's like
some sick
6
people.
women in there. There was a lot of women in there.
Of course. No,
Mad
they're
women.
yeah, especially in labor and delivery.
It was fun though.
Yeah. So this is I guess has something to do with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons got
It technically does. That epidural all led to this conversation.
Yeah, we got some guys that know what I'm talking about. Clay, he knows what I'm talking about. Kari, you know what I'm talking about, man.
Oh, they have children too?
Yeah, they got some guys. They got some guys.
Facts.
So an update on Ben Simmons is that he isn't able to do any work right now. He just took a steroid injection to ease his pain in his lower back, which I don't know about you guys, but I feel like at this point Ben Simmons isn't playing at all this season. I think they're going to sit him. They're going to basically redshirt him, even though he hasn't been
Again?
playing it all season long. The Nets are the 8th seed currently. They're 37-34. Now, how big of a loss do you think Ben Simmons is, if he is at all, at least for this current Nets team? Do you feel like they even need Ben Simmons is my kind of real question. What do you think, Rev?
Honestly, I don't want to say need, like, it sounds disrespectful to Ben Simmons. He's a okay player. He's a guy who is one of the best defenders in the league, so I think that defense is there. But if Kevin Durant, the real main thing is Kyrie Irving. I think that's the main piece that they would be missing, because if Kyrie Irving can't play, which it's looking like he probably won't be able to play games in Brooklyn, that's going to sting.
Or
I think,
Toronto.
And if Kevin Durant and Kyrie were playing, I don't think they necessarily need Ben Simmons right now. But I think at this point, talking about Ben Simmons for a little bit, this season is kind of a wash. It's been a lot going on with the situation in Philly. He finally gets traded. Something wrong with the disc in his back. Sit out this year. It doesn't even make sense. He's not even physically, even before, he wasn't even physically ready to play. He's still, he wasn't doing anything. So sit out this year. You're under contract for a long time. For Brooklyn, get Kyrie Irving re-signed. Seth Curry's under contract. Ben Simmons under contract. You got those young guys, Cam Thomas, Kessler Edwards, Day'Ron Sharp. You should try to bring.
Claxton a free agent?
I don't know.
Okay.
They should try to
I'll
bring
look it up.
Andre Drummond back. I think that would be a good piece.
He's been really good for them.
Patty Mills is somebody who probably would accept his player option if he does decide to say, bring the team back. You know what I'm saying? Run it back. Ben Simmons, get better. I'm begging you to get better in the offseason. And then this team could be fully next year will probably be the year we see the fully revamped what we was expecting Nets. But this year, I still think they can make a run. I still think they can beat a team in the first round, whether it be Miami or Philly. If Kevin Durant and Kyrie are there, I think that's still a dangerous Brooklyn team. But Ben Simmons, I don't think they necessarily need him to make a run because Kevin Durant and Kyrie are so dynamic. But Ben Simmons, for his health purposes, should sit out for the rest of the year.
Do I think they need Ben to make the playoffs? I don't think so. The question here is, will the Nets miss the playoffs? If Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant, that should not happen.
I don't think they should.
Kevin Durant, you don't think they're making?
No, I told Seb this. We was in the gym yesterday, and I told him, he was like, Atlanta's a good team. We could lose. I said, bro, if Kevin Durant
That's exactly
loses to Atlanta or Charlotte and doesn't make the playoffs, I really don't want to hear anything for like a year. Same thing for LeBron. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, those two guys are great enough to beat teams like the Pelicans or like Atlanta and Charlotte. Like those two are at that type of level. So I expect those two guys to win those games. They have good enough pieces to win a game.
Do you think the Nets can beat the Raptors?
Yes.
I think so too.
Yes.
Kevin Durant's
But the Hawks are coming off of Eastern Conference Finals appearance.
Hey,
say what you want to say, man.
They're a great big time team, man.
hey man, Knicks 3rd seed. Remember that.
Hawks have been the biggest disappointment this season for sure.
No, it's been you
there's been a
guys.
few. Yeah, fair.
Don't do that.
Fair.
Don't ever.
The Nets, us, Knicks, Hawks.
I wouldn't say the Knicks.
Not their disappointment. They were
But they're not
nowhere.
the biggest.
No, I'm saying
You guys
of
have
the biggest.
Those three teams have more talent than
I'm
them.
with you. I would say, excuse me, I said the Knicks before the Hawks. The Hawks are more disappointed than the Knicks, but those are the 4 biggest disappointments for sure.
Let's actually talk about it now real quick. What teams have been the most disappointing in the NBA this season? What's number 1?
Lakers, by far. By far.
The Nets are still a play-in team also, but I would agree.
Kevin Durant went down with an injury. That's what made them a play-in team. They were a
LeBron's
second
been
seed.
in and out of the lineup. AD's been in and out
You
of
weren't
the
good when they
lineup.
were in the lineup.
We weren't. I mean, we were still a top 3, top 4 seed when they were healthy
Lakers
early
have
in
been
the season.
disappointing though.
Yeah, they
what
have
about
been.
Atlanta Hawks? You have to put them up
For
there.
sure.
Definitely
For
up there.
sure. They're probably number 3.
Are we putting the Portland Trailblazers here?
I wouldn't
People
because
didn't expect-
expectations
yeah,
for me
people
were
didn't
low.
expect them.
I would say the Knicks got to be up here. I mean that respectfully. Truthfully, they
You're right.
haven't
I
been
mean, as somebody who
anywhere
was
near
very high on them
expectations.
before the season, I feel like people expected the Knicks to regress, though, outside of Knicks fans,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
We at least expected them to be a playoff /
I expected
play-in
playing.
team.
I did expect playing. I'm not going to lie.
What about the Pacers?
That's for you.
Got to be a disappointment for me and the Kings.
Yeah, definitely for
Kings,
you.
Kings, yeah.
Pacers, they right where I wanted them to be.
It's a shame though. Injuries derailed
But
their
you-
whole season.
You're a big Ben Simmons guy, though. So
I am.
You think they need him?
I'm saying to make the playoffs right now, I don't think they need Ben Simmons.
To make a run, though.
Can they make the Eastern Conference? Do they need Simmons to make the ECF?
This is why this net situation is difficult because now that the ban it's official, they're not. It's not official. It's most likely the ban is not going to be lifted, which means that Kyrie Irving is not going to be able to play home games. That's going to be huge for teams against like Miami, huge for teams like
Philly.
Milwaukee, huge for teams like Philly, where we saw Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving absolutely light up Philadelphia. This is going to be one of those situations where with Ben Simmons, it would definitely help the Nets situation, but I'm not looking at a Nets team with KD and Ben Simmons and thinking that this is my roster to make the run. I'm looking at KD, Kyrie, Ben Simmons, where yes, I would feel overly confident in them to really make a run. But with KD and Ben Simmons, I'm not feeling the same energy as I would feel with KD and just Kyrie, to be honest with you, because that scoring tandem is the best in the NBA when they're on the court together. They're the most dynamic, whatever you want to say it, they're the best at scoring wise when they're on the court together. But it gets tricky because with Kyrie being a part-time player, especially in the playoffs, it's going to be detrimental to them. Do I think they need Ben Simmons to make a championship run? No, because KD and Kyrie have shown that they could do it just themselves. Would it be nice to have Ben Simmons? Without a doubt. That only enforces that.
They don't need Ben Simmons. Point blank, period. I know Ben Simmons is this nice consolation prize for trading James Harden.
All NBA player, bro. Show some respect. I know that means a lot to you.
All NBA?
He actually has made All NBA.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Come
It
on,
is.
read a book, bro.
I don't know how he made that team.
3rd team, right?
Ben Simmons is a playoff liability. Ben Simmons, even if the Nets do get him back, is probably not ready to play anyway. How he's hurt now, despite sitting the entire year, is something I'm really trying to grasp and figure out.
Playing
He must have
games.
not been training at all.
It's just really a testament to who he's been his entire career, though. He's been an underachiever. He's been somebody who's talented, who has regressed since his rookie season. I look at the Nets, and I feel like as long as they have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving,
Big facts.
they can beat any team in the East still. Seth Curry is averaging 16.8 points per game, virtually 17. Drummond is averaging a double-double, 12 and 10 with the Nets. I feel like trading James Harden, they got a spot-up sniper shooter in Seth Curry, who's shooting almost 48% from three.
Seth can match
that's
any third guy.
ridiculous.
Low key.
Andre Drummond, they didn't have a center before him. Now they have their best center that they've had in years. And Harden is a superstar talent, but they got depth for him, and I think that's what matters. I still look at a Nets team if they have a lineup out there with Kyrie, Seth, Kevin Durant, Drummond, and Bruce Brown, who's been playing really well for them. That's a pretty good lineup. We're talking about a team who took the Bucks to the wire injured. And now they just added Seth and Drummond. I feel like if the Nets get healthy, and you're right, the vaccine mandate is a huge thing because of that, Kyrie can't play in home games. And I think, quite frankly, that rule is bullshit. We all know that rule is bullshit, especially when players from other states can come in and they can play. Exactly.
Insane.
It's ridiculous. The Nets, fully healthy, they should make the playoffs. There's no reason why they shouldn't. They can beat any team to play in, whether it's Charlotte or the Atlanta Hawks. They should not pose a threat to the Nets. They can beat Toronto if it's one game to go.
Though.
But the thing is, it would have to be, from the way that it's set up right now.
No, it's in Toronto.
Toronto versus Brooklyn, which means Kyrie can't play.
Yep.
Let's say they lose.
They go to home.
Brooklyn would have to be at home, which means Kyrie can't play.
Yeah.
They can beat Atlanta and Charlotte with KD.
My initial point is, if Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant, he should be able to get past Toronto. Worst comes to worst, he should be able to get past Charlotte.
They go to Miami.
Atlanta.
Kyrie can play those 2 games.
Oh, for sure.
If they're an 8th seed. Or if they're 7th seed, Kyrie can play those 2 games in Philly.
They can get up like a 2-0 lead.
What's the interesting thing about it, if they are the 8th seed, they would be playing 4 games away.
Yeah.
And outside of Toronto, there's no
and Toronto won't go to the
spot
second
where
round,
he can't play away.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to see that, because if he only plays road games and they win all their road games because of Kyrie,
even if they win 3 and Kevin Durant gets you one game at home,
he's more than capable.
Yep.
He should be, at least.
All right, don't do that.
I'm just saying he should be.
I feel like Ben Simmons, just the way this entire thing has gone on, has been disappointing. You know, I gave him the benefit of the doubt in Philly because it's a tough situation. You know, especially him dealing with fans who are obnoxious and who are rude and are toxic and very negative. Okay, I can understand how that affects your mental health. That would affect a lot of people. But then when he gets traded to Brooklyn, I'm like, okay, he's revitalized. Any player that leaves a situation like the one he left in Philly, not any player, because obviously it's not for Ben Simmons, but most players that have a desire and that have competitive nature would be longing at the opportunity to leave that situation and now prove themselves in a new one. And he hasn't done that in Brooklyn.
Agreed.
At first, it was he needed some time away for his mental health in the first couple of weeks. That's why he didn't play. And then it's because his back now. You know, and I'm not saying, his back could very well be in pain. I'm not saying it's not.
I think that's more realistic.
Yeah, it definitely is more realistic. And that's why, for me, I'm like, I don't feel like he has true competitive nature. I don't feel like he wants to be great. I don't feel like he wants to be a missing piece to a championship team. I don't think he really cares. And that's why I don't know if he's a big loss for Brooklyn. I think Brooklyn, like I mentioned before, they can win with just Kyrie and KD. Kevin Durant this year, he's averaging 29 for the Nets. When he was healthy, they were 29 and 15. That's a .659 win percentage, which would be second in the Eastern Conference right now. So that means when Kevin Durant plays, the Nets are the second best team in the Eastern Conference.
They were number 2.
And we're talking about a team that didn't have Kyrie for the majority of the season. It really was Kevin Durant carrying somebody in James Harden, who, if we're taking into account James Harden's level of play in Brooklyn for most of the year, Seth Curry can definitely outdo that with Drummond.
Outdo? He was still averaging 23 and basically 10 assists.
He said and Drummond.
I guess that makes it better, but that's how I interpret it. But
I don't know. Watching the Nets games with Harden, even when KD was there was a lot of
misery.
4 for 15 nights and Kevin Durant dropping 38.
Super inefficient.
At least you're right, like Harden to give you 20 and 10, but Seth would give me 18 and shoot 6 for 11 from 3.
No doubt, I'm with you.
And he'd be
he's a better fit. He's a better fit, which I agree with.
He's a Curry, man. He's a Curry.
Can you stop it, man?
Curry, man. Greatness.
Your agendas.
He's a Curry,
At least they're consistent.
He's a Curry,
they're nice.
bro.
The
Currys don't miss.
A great family.
He's a better shooter than Steph.
Oh my God, you have to
statistically
stop.
He is.
Statistically, he don't even shoot the shots Steph shoot.
Oh yeah, so he's a better spot up shooter.
He probably is a better spot up shooter.
Okay. Who would win in a 1-on-1?
Oh, Steph would cook him.
Why do you think
if Seth got the ball first, would Curry get it back?
Yes.
I don't know.
But if Steph gets the ball first, do you even think?
GG's. It's GG's. No.
Come on, bro.
Nah, Seth could definitely lock him up.
God.
Interesting.
For a
We've
couple
seen Curry get
possessions.
locked.
By Seth?
Nah, just in general.
Seth played at Duke, bro.
That's a great school. Look where they're at. One guy went to Davidson, the other guy went to Duke. One guy's the greatest, the other guy's
So he
not.
went to the better school. He's a better player. That's it.
He didn't get
Point blank
drafted.
period.
Seth
Yes.
didn't get drafted.
Whoa, you might be right, actually.
I know I'm
believe
right.
You. Yeah, I believe you.
You can't tell me about the draft. Who
I'm
you?
just saying. Whoa. Take it easy.
Come on.
Damn.
Undrafted young boy. I like Seth, though. But I think, like, Kyrie, it's going to help. It's going to work itself out. You know what I'm saying? So Miami, that's your pick, though. And they might play Miami.
I'm lower on Miami now than I was before.
Oh, here we go.
Him and I haven't spoken. I've brought him to our side.
You didn't bring me anywhere.
Nah,
It's
it's
just
true.
off
Nah,
with
you can just
watching
be
it.
honest, man.
You know what?
No,
I'm going to
I
let
am.
it slide.
Just be honest.
And when we do the segment before the playoffs, I want you to make a pick and stand on it. I don't want you to change one game.
I haven't
2
done
games.
it at all.
All right, because you keep saying
you're super high in Miami.
now you're low on Miami. Now
It's a long season.
It's getting to the deadline where it's like
Can we get some acknowledgement here? Like
What acknowledgement, though?
that we were right about Miami, and now you share similar beliefs to ours.
Who was right about Miami?
Riv and I.
I'm so confused. What is he low on though? You can tell me.
No, now apparently he's out on Miami being
I never
championship contenders.
No, I never said
I don't
that
think he
once.
does. What do you?
Yeah.
You said you're low.
I'm saying I have concerns about Miami.
What was the concerns?
Well, for one, I think Kyle Lowry now is an average point guard.
Damn, really?
I've been watching him play. I feel like Kyle Lowry has lost a step,
Wait,
and
he's 30.
I think now he's deferring,
Okay.
and that's what he's doing right now. But I feel like they need him to be all-star caliber.
You don't
Kyle
think he could do
Lowry.
that in a playoff game though?
I feel like he can, but we've seen in the past that he hasn't.
Okay.
So that's a concern for me. Jimmy Butler, also a concern for me.
Okay.
And I think the continuity of the team as a whole is a concern for me,
Really?
just because all year long they've been injured and different lineups have been playing, and those lineups aren't going to be the same ones playing in the playoffs because guys can be healthier. Those are my concerns. But I'm not out on Miami.
Rotation wise though, I trust Spo. In the sense that
Course,
that
you
part I
gotta.
trust
You
Spo
gotta.
for that.
I'm not out on Miami.
You
You
feel-
want this credit.
I'm
You want
just
this
saying.
pseudo credit.
Listen, I
He's-
feel
he's-
like I'm
he's trying
feeling
to get
great
that
about
credit.
it. I am.
He's trying to
I
get that
am.
credit.
I was early to it. That was one of my strong preseason opinions.
What were you early to, though?
That their offense was going to be
He
the
said he
issue.
did say that last summer.
No, but he said offense. Like, that's not my concern with Miami, though.
So your only concern is health, Kyle Lowry.
And Jimmy Butler.
My
So
concern.
the best player on their team,
my concern is
arguably
continuity.
I would say
The
Bam's the
fourth.
second. Who's the third? Tyler
Tyler
Hero?
was better
Okay,
than
okay.
Did you
okay.
just like do that?
Yeah, because he was gonna say the second. I had to.
I
Put
know,
his hand
and I was going to say Bam's the second best player. You could debate third, but I would go Hero.
Like your concern with Miami is that you don't think they'll be able to score enough.
I don't trust their offense in the playoffs.
That's not my concern. I think they'll be able to score enough. I just think that teams late in games might be better.
That was my
situationally.
concern. That part was more me. I said all that. All right.
You made it sound like they'll be like in the low 80s every game. Like they can't score. They have nobody to score.
Listen, realistically, it's the
Playoffs
NBA.
getting
You're going to
close.
score at least 90. You should at least.
Playoffs is
With
getting
the
close.
limited
It's
defense, for
just
sure,
cutting down,
for sure.
fellas. Cutting down.
I'm excited.
You shouldn't be.
I am.
You have no team in the playoffs.
What are you talking about? Milwaukee.
I forgot. Yeah, I'm sorry.
And I chose the Suns. So
No. We're not doing that.
what are you
On
talking
to
about? That's my finals.
Yeah, but you're a Lakers fan.
Fair. I'll give you that. Fair.
On to the last segment of the podcast. I think this is a segment for Riv to shed light on one of his favorite players because
Please.
he loves talking about him.
Teach the kids.
But we just made this a segment in general to talk about some underrated players. But Riv wants to give his spiel on Shea. He can. So, Riv, you can start off first. Do you think Shea, SGA, is the most underrated player in the NBA?
I think he's definitely walking into that territory. You know, you look at his numbers. 24, 6 and 5, blanking on that. He is at a young age, he's already one of the best isolation scorers in the NBA. He's top 5 in isolation points already. He's one of those guys who his creation skills are so ridiculous. He can hit that 3-point shot. He can break you down in the pick and roll game. He has the euro. He has the floater. There's literally no, aside from his 3-point shot, which is shown like it's been up and down. There's literally inside the 3-point line. There's no weakness in his game. He can do it all, and his playmaking is as solid as it gets. He's a really good off-ball defender. On ball, it can get a little better, but he's still young. I think right now, like guards, this is a guard league. This league, this is the golden era of guards, and I think people are forgetting SGA's name when they're mentioning Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine, Devin Booker. And I'm not saying he's on their level, But I'm saying, like, the DeJounte Murrays, I think when we mention these guys' names, we need to remember SGA's name because he's a guy who, when he plays, OKC is somewhat competitive. This is a team that he puts them on their back and he makes the game competitive. And this is a guy who can definitely put up buckets in the fourth quarter in the clutch with the best of them. I mean, this guy is extremely different, and he's still relatively young. I remember in the draft, people were saying Kevin Knox might be better than him, and coming out of Kentucky, he was the best player in Kentucky to me, like easily he was the best. And then when he went to the Clippers, I knew he'd be a contributor in that playoff team. And then when he got traded, playing with Chris Paul, that really opened up his game, where when he knows how to turn it off, turn it on. It helped his patience to the game. It helped the way he looked at the game. So I think for me, he's definitely one of the most underrated players in the league. And I'll even add two more because the topic says add 2 or 3 more players. So I'll add 2 more. Another one who's underrated in this game, shout out to him from Denver, Will Barton. This dude is a bucket. He's been the second best player for Denver for majority of the year. He's been dealt with injuries before this year, but this year, next to the Joker, I know we like to say the Joker is virtually playing with nobody, but Will Barton has been that guy for them, that second guy for them, giving them buckets in key stretches. And for number 3, shout out to MKP because we've been on the same wagon. Robert Williams, he is easily, without a doubt, top 5 defensive bigs in the league. He's 6'8". Yeah. Who's John?
Tortelli.
He didn't.
He loves.
Shout out to John Tortelli.
I'm a big Time Lord fan too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Shout out to Joel as well.
You're a big what?
Time Lord.
Williams.
That's his nickname.
Oh my God.
This guy's a fan of everyone.
I made a film analysis on him last year.
I don't believe you.
Respect me.
But yeah, Robert Williams, he's one of the best defensive bigs in the league. Him being at 6'8" has definitely changed the Boston Celtics defense, them having that back anchor. And now when your wings are playing elite defense, and you got guard play that's playing elite defense, and you got a 6'8" big who's blocking everything, this is the perfect, Boston has a perfect defense. And shout out to Robert Williams, Time Lord. He's definitely put them at a better space than they was, because I know Al Horford's a good defender, but he's old. Robert Williams brings that athleticism, that versatility, and I love Robert Williams' game. So those are my 3 underrated players.
I like it a lot. Now, just to shed a little light, 100%. I'm with Riv. Great names.
You better be.
I'm going to just speak very briefly on SGA.
Respect him.
I feel as if he is, yes, I would label him as underrated, and it's for the fact that he's not in a bigger market, and it's his play is not translating to wins, and it's not his fault. The roster as a whole is just not good enough to compete with these other teams right now in the NBA. He's fantastic, and because they're not winning, he's not getting more appreciation, and that's why I feel like he's underrated, Now, for my other underrated players, Desmond Bane, he has been unbelievable in terms of his improvement from last season to this season. He improved his scoring averages almost 9 full points, averaging 18 points this season, shooting 45% from the field, shooting 41% from 3. Excellent defender, and is when John Morant went down, we saw Desmond Bane elevate his play and keep the Grizzlies, or really start to get the Grizzlies going on that right path of being the Grizzlies that we are seeing right now. And then John Morant came back, and you would expect Desmond Bane's production to come down. Of course, it came down a little bit, but he has been one of the most consistent options for the Grizzlies all season long. Is definitely a strong reason why the Grizzlies are as great as they are outside of John Morant. Now, my number 2 most underrated player is Bojan Bogdanovic. This is a guy that I've really had to teach myself about, because this guy...
I'm sorry, before you continue, Bojan is Atlanta. Bojan is...
No, Bojan is Utah.
Yeah, Bojan is Utah.
Okay, I get them so confused.
So he has been one of the more overlooked scorers in the NBA. This is a guy that can give you 20 any night, a guy who is shooting 45% from the field, is a knockdown three-point shooter, is a knockdown free throw shooter, shoots almost 90% from the free throw line, EFG of 55% for his career, 46% from the field for his career, averaging 18 points per game this season. Definitely in terms of offensively, this guy is definitely one of the more underrated players in the league. And I went a little bit more low-key. Keldon Johnson. Now, you look from last season to this season, averaging 16 points a game, 6 boards a game, has upped his scoring from almost four full points from last season, shooting 47% from the field and shooting over 40% from three-point range on 2 attempts a game, which is pretty solid for a big man. I like Keldon Johnson's game. I think defensively he needs to improve to really become that all-around player, but just on a low-key basis, Keldon Johnson definitely is underrated.
So you're right. I think SGA is underrated. I think it has less to do with market and more about that they lose
Definitely.
But
I agree.
Since the All-Star break, he's been phenomenal. He's been going on insane scoring stretches. These are my 3 most underrated players in the NBA, though. D'Angelo Russell.
I was thinking about him,
If
too.
this guy names all Timberwolves,
He
I'm
might.
going to crack up.
D'Angelo Russell is a really good playmaker, one of the better volume shooters in the NBA, and he's really upped his defensive play this year. He's, I think, one of the main anchors on defense for the Timberwolves. Pascal Siakam, to me, is underrated. He's an all-around player. He can
Great
do
name.
literally everything on the court. People still kind of view him in this light because he didn't do great in the bubble. In the playoffs, he was very inefficient. He didn't play well, and that was his first test as a number 1 option. But Pascal Siakam this year has been phenomenal for the Raptors, and I think he is one of the more underrated players in the league. And my third guy, man, is actually, I'm gonna throw 2 more in here.
All right.
I think RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett is somebody that doesn't get talked about enough. And
I'm glad you let this rock because that's insane. But go ahead.
I think he gets talked about in a bad light. That's why.
I'm just saying our good friend Joel over here who has been...
He apologized, so I let him walk. He apologized.
Did
So
you? Did you
RJ
apologize?
Yeah, he did. He did.
RJ Barrett, to me, I think is now one of the more underrated players.
Wow.
He's averaged 26
Shocking
since
to
the
hear.
All-Star break. Since January 1st, he's averaging like 24, 25 points per game. He's been efficient. Now when he's finally has the ball in his hands, he's making the most out of his opportunities, and I think that's a great sign for the Knicks moving forward. And my last guy is Wendell Carter Jr.
I hate you.
He's a double-double machine.
I love that.
Wendell Carter Jr. is a double-double machine. He
Every
can
name
shoot
you
the
said
3,
is fire.
and he can play great defensively. He can guard 1 through 5. How is he not one of the more underrated players in the league?
Pascal's the only name that I was thinking on your list that I was going to put on my list, but felt as if people already acknowledge Pascal as being one of the better ones.
Put D'Lo.
But every other player you
Wendell
listed's
would
great.
never get nothing out of him.
So let's recap this. So
Let's do it.
D'Lo or SGA, real quick.
more underrated?
No, who's better?
SGA.
Okay.
Okay. All
I
right.
just had to make sure
It's
he was
not
on
a
the same
question.
page.
I love D'Lo, but that's not a question. All right. So most underrated players in the NBA. We're each going to name a couple. So D'Angelo Russell is mine. He's been we know he's a great scorer and a playmaker, but he's been really good defensively for the Timberwolves this year. Pascal Siakam, all around, just a great player. Wendell Carter Jr., double-double machine, can stretch the floor and is a great defender. And RJ Barrett, he's averaging 26 since the All-Star break, 25 since January 1st. The Knicks finally are giving him the keys, and he's making the most out of it.
And for me, my underrated players, SGA. He's one of the best ISO scorers in the NBA. He can do it all. He has damn near no weakness in his game. Number 2, Will Barton, the number 2 guy for Denver right now. Makes timely buckets, is clutch, and he definitely helps out the Joker when it's needed. And for me, number 3 is Time Lord. If the Boston Celtics started off the way they finished, he would definitely be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. And I think next year would be the year where he fully shows that ability. So that's my 3.
So for my 3 most underrated players, I have Desmond Bane, who's one of the best 3-and-D players in the league. Has really blossomed this season offensively and defensively. He's been one of the more stable pieces for the Grizzlies, and a big part of the reason why they're as great as they are this season outside of John Morant. Number 2, I have Bojan Bogdanovic, mostly for his offensive game and how overlooked it is, how efficient he is, and how consistent he has been year in, year out. And lastly, more low-key, Keldon Johnson, who's upped his scoring averages. Excuse me. One of my last most underrated players is Keldon Johnson. Given the fact that he's upped his scoring points per game this season, has been very efficient with his scoring, 47% from the field, 40% from 3, and he needs to improve his defense, but offensively, he's really taking great strides in his game, and I feel like he's definitely being overlooked.
I found the Robert Williams video
Nice.
that I made.
I knew you would.
You want me to play it right now?
Let me see.
It could play it live on the
Why
podcast.
not? Yeah,
actually.
it's your content.
Yeah.
We're not getting copyrighted.
Yeah. There's actually a song in here, but
Oh,
it's
great.
like one of those. I used to make like my film analysis videos over like music. That's facts. That's facts. Yo, that shit go hard though.
That was so on cue.
So here's the video.
The other day I made a video about Nicholas Jackson and how good he is, but Robert Williams is right up there as being one of the most most underrated players in the league currently. This game against the Rockets, he had 20 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 assists, and shot 9 for 9 from the field, so he was perfect. He's one of only 3 players to do that in the game. Those players being Nikola Jokic and Wilt Chamberlain 3 times.
He just threw the ball at the rim.
He's more of a rim runner on offense, but on defense is where he really shines. He's a great shot blocker. He's undersized for the center position at only 6'8", which means he can step out and guard guards, but he also has a long wingspan at 7'6", and that's why he's able to contest shots so well. What Williams doesn't have in height, he makes up in his gigantic wingspan. And now that Daniel Tice has gotten traded to the Bulls, Robert Williams is going to have a way bigger impact on the Celtics. The other day I made a video.
Come on, bro. I was early on Rob Will, man.
You were.
Rob Will.
Nah, I called the song. I knew it.
That shit had me crying, bro. Oh, my God.
I knew it. I knew it.
Bro, I love Voxes, bro. That's what they call, like, in the music world, in production, of Vox is basically a vocal chop. It's a vocal chop of like high pitches and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I love Voxes, bro.
For sure, man.
They're so
they sound
awesome.
really good.
Yeah.
He was right on cue.
All right, so that's going to do it for episode 164 of the Pick a Side podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. You can go and follow us on Twitter at Pick a Side Pod, on Instagram and TikTok at Pick a Side Podcast. Use our promo code on SeatGeek, Pick a Side Pod at checkout. And don't forget to go on DraftKings and use our code TBPN for a bunch of great bets there. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.